Yahoo! Wait, I realized I haven't prepped everything. Wait, this is great. Good job, me. Thank you, James. You're so good at this. Oh my god, he's so good at this. Oh my god. I feel like I do this every time. Is this like, hey, this is my way of like introducing my streams if you haven't seen my streams for the first time, and or you just like you want, I don't know, you 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 wish you could do anything. That just happened, huh? It just happened, huh? Anyway, um, what was my point? Oh yeah, hi, what's up? It's me. I'm here. Um, what are we doing? More Persona. So, I totally forgot there is a feature in the game that I have not utilized that I could have used at the end of stream. And it's the rewind feature, which I'm probably going to do just so I am in a position where I've not entered Tartarus. That's what it is. Where I've not entered Tartarus, yeah. What else as well? Oh yeah. I got a new YouTube upload over on YouTube. You won't be missing anything too much from it. The TLDR is it gives you a rundown on me coming back to YouTube content at least on a weekly basis. What I'm trying to aim for, and going back for short form content as well, like dedicated short form content, not just like clips of like stream, but actual short form content that there's like in a sense of like there's a concept with like the short form content, you know, instead of just oh here's a stream highlight. Yeah, that's my fault. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. I ran a poll like yesterday. No, I ran a poll today actually. A lot of people. By the way, the response was a lot of yous responded like, chill. I get it. I get it. Chill. I do appreciate the responses though, seriously. But there was a lot. A lot of people liked the preference on somebody playing one game at a time with like maybe collab event streams mixed in from time to time as well. Like if I do like any like events with like other people and like let's say oh it takes a day here, it takes a day here, then people are more inclined to watch that stuff rather than just like here's general variety content where I have like 4 different series running through, which I mean in all honesty it might actually be easier for me to do that. It might actually be easier for me. The the thing I'm concerned that comes to doing this, and I will do the schedule. I will 100% do the schedule. I will play Persona 3 until I finished the game on a playthrough and get an ending on it. For me, I kinda curious how I feel after I beat Persona 3 because I know the Persona games are genuinely a bit of a lot. They're generally like longer games to go through compared to some other games, right? So for the sake of that, I'm wondering how people will take on approach for something like that. And like people prefer it where it's just one game at a time. I understand that. It's just more so how I also feel as well. Like, will I get bored out of it? And if I do get bored, should I just have like 2 series then to have like a middle ground so then I don't feel sick and tired of like doing one concept over like doing like one concept constantly for like a month, let's say, or something. Because realistically, if we're going by this regime and such, for like especially Persona 3, I think the amount of hours roughly for a game like this is probably like 50 hours. And I've already dedicated 9 of the hours. So let's say we think about it like um if I keep things at like a somewhat reasonable pace in terms of like my streaming schedule, I should get it done by the end of the month. Realistically. Either by the end of the month or the beginning of next month I'll get it done by. So yeah. Which means I will also tell you this. I do have plans to have a stream where I will bring a guest for jamming out with. I will definitely do it at some point. It will still be like chill vibes and that, and it's so like, cause I want to do something, you know, people. It's been a bit. The last time I did anything with anybody else was the it was the where was it? It was the 21st. Which, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but also it's a fair bit of time, you know. So I want to do that. Yeah. I want to do something where I'll dedicate that. I've also got a big project planned for April as well, that I've been thinking through. I know exactly what I want to do with that. And I'm going to need everyone's help in sharing that. I'm not one for like calls to actions on like, oh hey, please share this event and that. What I'm going to do for April, please share it, because it means practically everything to me as a it means everything for my journey for me. I will start like asking people in like March, I would say, and say, hey, what day would suit you? Day here, 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 and then trying to slot in like. Let me tell you this. My idea for April is I'm not going to miss a single day of streaming in April. I mean this wholeheartedly, which yes, is going to be a lot, but the whole idea for April is I don't miss a single day of streaming. Which is a bit of an order. It's definitely a tall order. But I'm looking forward. Yeah, I don't know what else I have to say. I hope everyone's having a great day. I realize that we still have it on Persona 3 Reload, even though I've not changed it to Persona yet. That's my fault. I apologize. Also, but I should get this message, because this message is pretty important. I need this from the previous stream, because the previous stream will have the message behind it. Where is it? Yeah. Gosh, I can't believe I streamed for 9 hours. Not 9 hours, sorry. 5 hours. I don't know why I said 9 hours there. It just, I knew what I meant. Alright. Mentioned. There we go. There's the pinned message. This is your preemptive warning on the game's content warnings that is involved in it. There is mentions of suicide, flashing images, self-harm, partial nudity, and sexual themes that might not be comfortable for you, or it might be distressing. So if you feel like this is not going to be the stream for you, I totally understand it and I totally respect it. And yeah, I'm gonna load up Persona 3 right now. So first thing, I'm gonna try and see if the rewind works, even if I have saved the game. I don't know how the rewind feature specifically works, in all honesty. My intuition from what I've heard from at least one source has been it apparently resets you back to the previous evening, supposedly. That is what I've heard from a spoiler-free review of the game. Brilliant. Yeah. Did I mention that actually? Oh, I did not mention this. I thoroughly apologize, actually. I did not mention this. And that is my fault. That is my fault. I'm going to pin this message because this is more up to date now. My apologies, everyone. Please, 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 please. No, I'm making sure I've got the stuff. Sorry. Right. Okay. I picked my pen. Also, I've got some very exciting news actually. I am going to be making a Persona 3 like themed raid sort of animation. I'm already working on it and I've already got like the first part of it like almost done. It's all about replicating the animation of the slices of the text that I want. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for that. Yeah. Bright effects. They experience temporary muscle cramps, loss of consciousness. Yeah. Great warning. Great warning. I need to see where my plug is. I need to be what's called the what people do. Right. Okay, everyone. Hi. What's up? Sorry. Me. Also, as well, big mention as well, Black Lives Matter, they always do matter. It is Black History Month, if you're not aware. On this month, bringing awareness to them. I very highly advise you get yourself informed and educated about this month. It's a very important month for the marginalized, for a fair amount of marginalized folk. So yeah, please do so. As well as that, what's another important thing? Yes, the other mention, the Palestine command, it still works. That will directly take you to a link through Twitter, where you can talk to your GPs about, and specifically in regards to what you can do in support for helping, you know, Palestine, and what actions you can do. There can be mentions of, you know, boycotting certain products and all that. There's a whole bunch of list of stuff that honestly I don't need to like specifically reiterate, but because I could go on for hours, but specifically I will reiterate that the message still needs to be spread, and really hoping that the message does get through to those who are really causing, like, you know, the harmful effect of taking other people's lives. So we're doing it. We're doing it. Let me get my controller, everyone. I'm ready to play some Persona. Shout out to Glitch X City. I don't know if I shouted Glitch X City. Glitch, if you don't know, just did the bit, is going to be currently in my background music for the entire month, unless I find any other like black artists that I know that I like their music genre, and I won't get DMC'd for. I will feature them. But yeah, credit to Glitch X City. So yeah. Alright, let's see if the rewind feature does work still. If I've saved and went away from the game for a day. This is actually very interesting because I don't know. I don't know specifically. We'll see. We'll see. We are going to load the game. We are currently in Tartarus, but I've kinda actually wasted. Let's go to menu. Let's go to system here. Ooh. This is actually a good point. This is such a good point. Okay. So it's kind of like the breakthrough processes. As far as I'm aware, let's check the mail. You have to worry about where you sit. It would suck if you ended up in the front row. The courage. Also, how's the music? I hope the music's okay. I'll make sure. I'll quickly check. Of course, the music's fine. I already checked this stuff. I don't know why I doubt myself. You know what? Sometimes I do self-doubt myself. Also, subs for them up. We'll go towards a the number of subs that I gain for this month. Those subs will help go towards a charity that kind of helps with to people of color, because it's very important. It's very important to me that those who are less fortunate are able to get the help and that the message gets spread, you know, because I feel like the message doesn't get spread enough. And yeah, I want to do my part in helping, so yeah. No practice, huh? Yeah, there's not much to do. Apart from... So here is my logic here, everyone, because as far as I am aware, I don't think... I'm checking here. Let me quickly check here, because I totally forget. Oh yeah, there we go, there's the Twilight Fragment. So I'm gonna go back to school building. I'm gonna do something different here, actually. What I want to do is I want to quickly check where is this again, because I actually completely forgot. It's the science lab. There are chemicals inside. There might be some chemicals everywhere. You really watch out for them chemicals. Them damn chemicals. Ugh. They give me the ick. Faculty office. Let's see if this works now, because we entered Tartarus. You seem rather tired. Is it a wound, a virus, a curse, or maybe love? This is a perfect opportunity to test my new concoction. Oh, I'm scared. What the heck? What is this? Poison carrot? It's a poison carrot, buddy! I'm sorry, huh? Oh yeah, let me just feed my new concoction let me just feed like a poison carrot to a student in this school. Yeah, there'll be no repercussions with it. Hold on, this is Darkseid, okay. It's been a minute. Hi Darkseid, how are you doing? I hope you're well. Apparently we're being fed a concoction with a poison carrot. It is something, let me tell you. Oh gosh, I'm gonna drink it. This strange medicine will not listen to me. Oh no, buddy. Oh no. Under that daily, definitely. I hope you're doing well, though. Do you want me to repair to you still as Safe, or do you want me to repair to you as Luna? What's easiest for you? You already need a cup, but cheers to your bravery. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Saturn is calling. Oh no. It's inconsequential you survived. I guess Luna makes sense for this account. Oh, okay, no worries, no worries. I'll call you Luna then. Well, I hope your day's going well. We are continuing to play Persona. We're playing Persona free reload. Sorry, I actually like stumbled my words there trying to like say what I wanted to say. I've been really enjoying it, and yeah, we're just pretty much like exploring all the stuff we can really do in between, because we've already reached like the point. I'm actually gonna do network real quick because well, let's save, huh? You know what? Maybe I'm just thinking too much about this stuff. Is there anything here? No, I don't think there's anything here. I can check. Ah, yeah, there's this one as well. Okay, I actually almost forgot about that one. My question is, how much money do I have? I have 15. Everyone, I have 15,000. I'll be honest, I think I'm doing good in terms of the yen department, which can be a bit like of a struggle, but I think I'm actually doing pretty well in regards to it. I don't think I'm like necessarily like flowing with money, but also I think it's well enough to where there's genuinely not an issue. There's the club name there in a mix of Japanese and another language. I can't read it. I need my academics to be higher in order to read. We'll need to be at least above average in order to understand it. Okay, so let's think here. I think we could check the library and we can study as well. The fact that I was able to do the nurse interaction and not lose time in the nurse interaction, like in the nurse's office, and not lose time on it, is pretty good. Honestly, it's pretty good. Because I thought it would like make me spend some time. I feel inspired to working on some difficult problems without giving up. How have you been, Nolan? I hope you've been well. To everyone else, I hope you've also been doing well. I've been really enjoying this game. I really have. I hope everyone else has been enjoying this game as well. We should be getting close to academics, I feel. It's getting dark out. I should wrap up and return to my dorm. So it's going to be evening, I think, right? That's my thinking. Yeah, okay. That's good.
I see you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. It seems like you've been doing a good job exploring Taurus. You're the only ones who'd be able to do anything if something happened. Until I finish recovering, I'll be counting on you. I understand that, but the issue is you want me to explore it. Guess we'll see. Well, it's not you specifically. It's Kirijo. Which I'm like, Kirijo advised me to go through it, but like nothing happened. Like we checked the top floor, like the last floor we could go to. I'm always gonna enter here, by the way. I just am, because I'm like, the newest bookstore has reopened. Oh, I'm such a donut. okay, I figured out I figured out what I need to do actually. Everyone, I'm gonna be honest with you lot. I'm gonna have to rewind again. Okay, I know exactly what I need to do. I do know exactly what I need to do. We have to do it in this order then. So we go through here. I'm sorry I've shown this like 3 times. I just want to do things the way I want to do them, okay? Let me do them. Alright, let me do it. So that takes me to the corridor. We can check the corridor real quick. There we go, Twilight Fragment, and then after we do that, we then go to school building. Then we can go through here. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna collect the other fragment, and as I collect the other fragment, I'm then going to check the couple. I'm gonna check the couple real quick at the bookstore. That way we can capitalize on all like the different interactions here that I can do in the one day, which is a lot. There's a lot of stuff you can actually do within this day.
Welcome. What would you like to order? Our special today is fresh mackerel.
As you might suspect, we do.
Oh yeah, I've already read through this. I'm afraid I don't, but I know what you mean. I'm just going to actually fast forward this because I actually do know what I need to do. Oh wait, hold on. Wrong way I ran. And then we go to the corridor, because the corridor will actually take us to the tree. There we go. Go to the bookstore. As you can see, now starting to think here. The next thing I need to check before we go to the bookstore though is nurse's office.
Well,
yeah, I am gonna drink it, and then after we drink it, there we go. Timid, sorted. Right, okay. So I've done that. Is the hue on me different because I drank the thing? I did not realize. Maybe it's not actually. Maybe I'm just imagining it. Maybe I'm just imagining that the hue changed, alright? Maybe I am, okay? Look. Sometimes the cats never come out the bag. Strip mall. Yeah, let's show them, and then after we show them, that leaf.
it might. Oh, wait.
That's right.
That wasn't meant to be a pun.
Yes, you're very clever.
If you don't. Yes.
I think. Yeah, there we go. Hierophant, it's the elderly couple, as you can see. Very wholesome, except for Monday, which is why we can tie in like the training regime stuff through that. Yeah, that was the best thing to do. That was the best thing to do. So like, Mitsuru wants me to meet her, but like again, it doesn't. It didn't. It didn't help. It didn't help. Part of me actually wants to check. Hold on. I kind of want to check the multiple floors here. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Should be in the command room. She said she was going to do some training. Oh, but she also said we can still go with Tartarus tonight if you want to. I mean,
Gee.
Okay. The song's good, by the way, genuinely. That's why I should. I'm gonna like actually readily. I'm gonna readily check every like available like place now. See, the part of me feels like there's just nothing here. Detection ability is crucial. I've been training my own such ability, but it will take more work still before I am fully competent.
Alright.
Everyone can go tonight. Is there anything else? Never mind. You said you wanted to meet me. If you want to go to Tartarus, come and let me know. Oh. Wait, hold on. I'll be able to join you as well. Oh, that's more so just doing harder or something. Okay. So I don't necessarily have to actually. Here's my thought process then. I think I'll talk to you. Sorry. Accidentally bothered you twice, mate. Let's go to the mall, actually, the other mall. Let's go to Palunia. Let's sell the stuff, because I know we will have a bunch of stuff. Like a bunch of accessories. Again, kinda wish the frame rate was not so this dull, you know, but here we are. The fact it goes quiet. Well, fast access to fusions. Oh my god, the fact it's just immediately goes quiet.
Marvelous.
It says that the power growing within your stems from the bonds you have forged your nurtured. It says, yeah, we know. But this is my gift to you. Please accept it. Whoa! We're getting so many Twilight fragments. We'll occasionally give you a Twilight fragment as a reward for raising your social stats or establishing new stats. New social links. Oh, that's why. How many did we establish? 2, I think, or something like that. Might be more. I still cannot foresee the limits of your potential. I look forward to witnessing your grow even further. I want to use personas. Let's view some personas, shall we?
Now then.
I want to view some personas.
You choose.
Oh, you can't fuse 2. Oh, you can get unicorn. Huh, interesting.
This would be a wise choice.
Deals weak light damage. Oh.
This persona is powerful.
Absaris. So here's the thing. I kinda actually want to keep Pixie. I think we kind of fuse you and you. Oh!
This persona is powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Please choose what skills to inherit.
Increases one eye's attack repeat turns. I actually think Sukunda is actually really good, and I think Tarakaja might be good as well. I can see them being used more in like these sort of situations for like either setting up or specifically to have a better chance of avoiding moves. Whoa. I am a Kanjo. You deserve power, then allow me to be your holy blade. Archangel. Archangel, sorry. Did I really say Archangel? I'm sorry. What did I get with this, huh? Hope.
You can't control this one yet.
You can't control it, buddy. I'm being told I can't do that. I'm not good enough for it.
Very well.
Is there anything else I can assist you with? Nah, not really. Awesome. So we got that. We got Twilight Fragments. Everyone, we're doing pretty well, I'll be honest. I think we're actually doing pretty well. So I could do karaoke to raise my courage. The other thing, oh, this is the important. Hold on a second. Very important stuff.
What'd you bring?
Let's sell all the items here. Holy god. Oh my god. Saber.
How many? You're handing that over? All right, I'll take that. What'll it be? What are you looking for?
So I should sell this also.
You're handing that over? All right, I'll take that.
For Makoto.
Uh-huh.
How is Makoto's sword right now? It is... Oh, okay.
Well, take as long as you need.
Okay.
What'd you bring? How many? Sure now. Sure, it's a deal.
Oh yeah, I should also sell this, I think.
It's a deal. What'll it be? Take as long as you need. What'll it be? Take as long as you need.
Rashgar.
That what you want?
Yeah.
Great. It's all yours. Everything looked great. It's all yours.
I want to sell it.
That what you want? Great. It's all yours.
Oh, I didn't want to actually sell the thing.
How many? Sure now. Sure. It's a deal.
Wow. Am I mistaking stuff here? But I feel like that stuff's on sale. Okay.
All done here?
Yeah, I think we are actually. Funnily enough, I actually think we are done. I think we're so done. Okay, so I need to raise my courage, but I am going to check the pharmacy because apparently there's a sale. Inventory goes on sale on Monday at Tatsumi East Police Station and on Saturday. Oh, so the police station inventory goes on sale on Monday, so I should buy this stuff on Monday then. Would that work out? I think that would still work out. Yeah, it would still work out. Let's think. How much do I have there?
You made up your
I
mind?
actually want to buy some of this.
Thanks.
Cures Rage, Cures Charm. I don't really need that.
You got everything you need? Thanks.
Yeah. The thing I want is like SP related stuff, you know? I want stuff that gives me like SP. There are posters regarding traffic safety and reminders of recent crimes in the area. What is this? That would turn on your charm. Oh, you can pick up a part-time job here. on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night. That's actually really good. Working here might improve my charm and courage. Yeah. Okay, you know what, actually, let me, before I do that, actually, I kind of want to see. Jack Frost doll. Oh, I see what it is. Okay. Let's check Game Parade. Real quick. Raises academics. Raises the quick persona's magic. It's kind of difficult to think. Okay. I'm gonna check. Oh, it's cause it's Monday, Tuesday. Right, gotcha. So what did I do? I spent the time with that. I spent the time with this. I then I don't remember. I think it was academics. Right? I'm gonna drink coffee. I'm gonna drink some coffee. We'll see how much it raises the charm. I enjoyed a cup of Ferro Ramon coffee. It had an enchanting aroma. I feel a little more mature now. Feel like my charm has increased after drinking the coffee. By how much? Not a lot. Okay. Please tell me I'm actually going to increase something here. Whoa. Wait a second, everyone. Hold on. I've got a text message. Some of your social links might invite you to hang out on days when you don't have school. Spending time with friends will give you a chance to build your relationships. Yes! For that afternoon, and your free time will be dedicated to that hangout. Okay, so it's the afternoon. Send you an invite request. You don't need to respond immediately. However, the hangout will no longer be available if you don't respond the day you receive the message. You know what? We may as well. Absolutely. Yeah, why not? Sure. Immediately. Oh. Dude, check it out. I finally got Mika's new single. Not only does she have a great voice, but she looks amazing when she's on stage, you know? Hey, I bet it's the first time I've seen you not wearing a school uniform. Yeah. Probably. I think I've only seen it like once or twice. So there you go. Oh. Are we doing this fine? Are you going to auto, please? Okay, thank you. Not bad at all, but there are some things you could do to look better. Okay, whoa, what the hell? What is with that, huh? There's no need for that to look better. This stuff doesn't look tacky at all, you know? It's just like, it's a different style to yours. It's just objectively a different style, okay? Yours is more casual wear. And Makoto's is more like smart wear, you know? That's... What's a good response for that? Hold on. I kind of want to see what the I mean, I suppose I could do the rewind thing. I just want to see because I think it will be funny as fuck. I don't know. I'm just gonna say that's rude. And if he doesn't like it, haha, my bad. I'm kind of obsessed with those. Yes! Oh my gosh! Yes! Oh, the response I wanted was good. Thank God. Some advice: make sure your school uniform is clean and pressed. That's how you look cool. Clean and pressed. You know what? Respect to you on that. Because that is true, probably. Not that I would know. That's probably true. Are we just waiting for it to all? I'm so confused. Tomochika opened up to me about his interests. I learned a little more about him today. Yeah. The person's into clothes. Maybe I'll buy something new to wear. You cool if we head over somewhere? I don't have a problem with it. I mean, do you wanna? Man, do you wanna? I decided to return to the dorm. Will this take me to the evening or to the night? Oh, it takes you to the evening. That's huge. That's...
Oh, welcome back.
Oh, hey, welcome home. Whoa, everyone's kind of here. You know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm going to take the vending machine. I'm going to check the vending machine. Ugh. Ugh. The fact that I can't buy a lot of, like, SP is something.
By the way,
Have you picked up any supplies like medicine and stuff? You probably know this, but I'll tell you just in case. Shops aren't open during the dark hours, so you should get whatever you might need. We don't want someone to get injured during Tartarus and not be able to do anything about it, you know? Yeah, that's true.
By the way,
My persona is supposed to be real strong against fire. I call the fire department because I'm burning with passion. Anyway, you can leave the strong enemies to me. I can take the... Hey, look, buddy. I respect you for saying that, but also we all here.
Oh, right.
Let me tell you something. Both boxing and actual combat, speed is key. Whenever you're landing a attack or evading one, you won't succeed if you can't move quickly. Hey, do you possibly know like a possible YouTuber? Something to matter? I just wanted to chat. A piece of advice for Fire in Tartarus. I suggest attacking shadows from the behind. You'll have the advantage if you can launch a preemptive strike without being noticed. Try to utilize this technique often. Everyone's status. Never mind. I'm gonna quickly check other stuff in particular. Men's room. I want to enter the men's room. Hold on. Fine. I can feel my way. I have today off. What should I do after this? Yeah, you have the day off. The questions. Can I do stuff in the room, actually? You may choose to take advantage of your afternoon by studying. So what does TV do? Nothing. There's nothing on the shelf yet. Show a day. What is show a day? Oh, it shows you to pay at the Shago Cafe. Okay, interesting. So I think I'm starting to get possibly an idea in terms of scheduling. We dedicate the sports on the Monday. We dedicate the bookstore on the Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we could also dedicate the Shagao Cafe on the vice versa day. But you know what? There might actually be more. If I go here, will it give me more? That's kind of funny. That is actually kind of funny that you can check multiple vending machines. I should also make sure I check every other place as well. I can go to the command room. But the question is, well... Okay. Mitsuru is actually not there. She's actually just at the lounge, interestingly enough. So I take it nothing's here. Okay. So I don't remember if we upped the friendship. I think... Did I update friendship? Which one is he? Oh yeah, he's rank 1. Okay. So I think it worked out pretty well. Okay. I might want to increase my charm. Again. We got the courage. Or we might do academics. I'm gonna quickly check the mall, and then I'm gonna check the station. Because again, the fragments could generally be an important thing, you know, so I kinda don't wanna like waste my time. I might vending machine. Fountain Dew. I'm buying the SP related stuff because the SP is going to drain quicker, I think, than the HP. At least from what I'm seeing. Okay, so we can't shop at Crovia. What are you mumbling about? Oh, they've got it. Ah, that's interesting. Okay. I couldn't hack it at my last job since I'm kind of antisocial, so I became in silence. Well, when my customers try to start conversation with me, I never know what to say to them. Dude, that's a mood. Honestly, for real, that is mood. Oh, okay. I honestly was about to say, holy shit, what if I just like found out? I was about to scare myself. So that you can immediately fast travel to the Velvet Room. Wow. Alright. Is it just no Twilight fragments? On this Sunday? The equip persona strength, agility, or magic. I mean, I could do that, but also sells variety music. That's all it is. That's all it is. It is. If my courage was good. If I had better courage. Okay. So here's my thinking actually. I kind of want to go to the burger establishment because I haven't done that. Eat a wild up burger. The mystery burger. Let's try this. Food, drink, awesome. A staffer looked apologetically at me before turning away. With some uneasiness, I managed to eat the whole thing. Oh. Okay, so that gives you 2. That's pretty good. That's generally pretty good. We raised the social stat, we did that. I hear people talking. Oh, what's the tea this time? I always feel super sleepy waking up on Mondays. Oh, I hate Mondays. You wanna know what I need? I actually need a Garfield picture. That's what I need anytime I make that joke. We have a special morning assembly today. Then we just had one last week. Oh, I hate Mondays. Remember how Kirijo Senpai gave that great speech last week? I mean, apparently they got the principal really fired up and now he wants to make a follow-up speech. Why? Wait, huh? Wait a second here. Wait. Hmm?
Excuse me?
Seriously, the heck? Why do we have to suffer just because he wants to stroke his... Wow. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I feel like this is so sort of actually accurate stuff. I'm like... modern schools, at least over here.
We'll now begin this morning's assembly.
Oh, great. Okay. Awesome.
First, our principal has some words he'd like to share with you. Please give him a warm welcome.
No, absolutely not. I would not. I'm joking, by the way.
Thank you.
What's the deal with the assembly? You think it's about the recent incidents?
I'm not sure.
It's me. He shouldn't even know about the shadows or anything. I just hope this doesn't take too long.
He's not exactly known for his brevity.
Oh, is this going to probe?
Today, I'd like to tell you about my vision for this school year.
The vision.
As you are aware, strange incidents have been reported on the news lately. It is my firm belief that none of you are involved. However, the uncertainties of high school life are many, and overcoming this will require constant effort. You must dig down deep inside, but don't worry so much that you lose touch with reality. As they say, everything in moderation. This is the key to reaping all the rewards that school has to offer.
The principal continues with his speech.
Wait a minute. Doesn't this remind you of Kirijo Senpai's
Yeah,
speech?
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, you're right. I guess he doesn't want to be
The
outdone by a
dialect is
teenager.
similar.
Can't really blame him, but still.
The dialect is very like similar, like such parallel in terms of like the
you
type
have
of
minute?
vocabulary used. Yes.
I'm sorry, but I'll need some of your time after school. I have a special request for you.
Oh. Yeah, sure. A special request.
I apologize if I'm being abrupt, but I couldn't think of a better person to ask.
Oh.
I'll tell you more about it after school. Until then.
Hey. Cool.
Let's begin.
Let's review quadratic functions. You all remember those, don't you? I actually do. Oh gosh, I actually do. The graph will be a parabola, sometimes a hyperbola. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Is it going to be... there's certainly beautiful curves, but they can't measure up to parabolic and hyperbolic spirals. Oh my gosh. These are algebraic spirals. Look, aren't they magnificent? Oh, I know what these are. I know exactly what these are.
So,
Yeah, exactly. As far as I'm aware, As far as I'm aware, let's see if you can answer this from a mathematical point. A low rate con. Which of the following is not an algebraic spiral? Oh, which of these is not an algebraic spiral? Oh. Oh. I think I know. I think I know. If I remember correctly, I think I know. I think it's A. I believe it's A.
A beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah. It's logarithmic. Yeah, it's the golden ratio. Yeah. It's the golden ratio. That one felt so much more satisfying than the other ones. I was like, that one's satisfying because it's the golden ratio. Yeah. Every one of the other ones is like uneven, or like B is an Archimedean, which pretty much it has like the same, like it has like the same like space in between each one. The thing is, even if you don't know this, rule out both C and D. But rule out both C and D, because C and D behave in similar fashions, if you're not aware of it. No matter how far you scale in, the shape remains roughly the same. This is called self-similarity. Yeah, the shape will remain similarly the same. This is why you've got like that sort of like snail. Like, the one that looks more like a snail shell. The one that looks most like a snail shell to you, just pick that one. The way it spirals kind of reminds me of Dark.
Thanks, man.
What, just me? Anyways, thanks for your help, dude. I do. Yuko gave me the answer just now. He must be really smart. Oh gosh, there it comes again. Must be really smart. That's the one that I immediately do. Sorry, like, it's mathematics. It's mathematics. I've done this before. I've become slightly more popular. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. When will I get the level up? I want to level up. I just want to level up, everyone. I just want to level up. Give me my level up. I deserve my level up. I've done so much work.
Sorry to keep you waiting. To make a long story short, I'd like you to join student council.
Whoa.
We meet regularly, but I don't expect you to participate every time. Just come to the student council room when you can.
That's it?
Yes, that's it. All I want is for you to be a member. Being president is very time-consuming. I'd like to have an ally to support me in the event of an emergency. An ally meaning someone who understands my situation. You know what it means to be a leader, so I'm asking you.
Alright, I'll do it.
Excellent. I knew I could count on you. And I've already filed and approved your student council membership on your behalf. But you'll have to go to the faculty office on your own to sign everything.
Alright, okay, I'll do that. Miss Toriumi, I need to tell her that I'm going to join student council.
I'm sorry for making arrangements without your permission, but I hope you understand the position I'm in. Once you're ready, come to the student council room. I'll be waiting for you there.
Okay. It seems I can join the student council if I submit some paperwork at the faculty office when I have some free time. You wanna know what sucks is if there's a girl you wanna date, you gotta be smart about how you wanna talk to her. Oh, okay, fine, yeah, sure.
Hey.
Are you the forgetful type? Totally. I may remember stock up, especially from Officer Kurosawa. I heard from Sanada-san that you can't buy anything from him at night. You want to go on a school day, then go right after classes are over. Okay, so it's only when I have free time, right? I need to seriously consider whether or not I should go through like with the running track. They need my attention right now. That's not true. There's technically two things. It's either I established the social link right now. We either go to the faculty office or we don't. Oh, thank God, I thought a cutscene. He's totally awesome at video games. He's so awesome at video games, like, honestly. Like, anybody who's not awesome at video games, like, stay out of my way. I am more awesome than you ever can be. Track practice. We have a new something for you. This is difficult. Okay. I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think here. I think we can do the track practice on another day, right? I think I do need to do this. It's difficult. It's difficult. Because I want to do the faculty office stuff, but there's also a deal. Let me check, because, okay, I'm gonna check Port Island Station. Dude, have I just forgotten about this place? I feel like I've just forgotten about this place. Oh, gamers.
Welcome. Take your time.
A rose bouquet might please someone.
Please come.
It's funny because I actually do want to buy it, but also I don't want to. I'm the one who has to clean it up. Alright, okay. Well, that's a you problem. So there's the theater. Let's go to station outskirts. Who are you, Kenny S? You dipshits, better watch yourself. If we see your face around here too often, someone's gonna get hurt. Cigarette smoke and the nervous tension fill the air. Ah, yes, lovely. Dark down there. Yes, it's dark. Twilight fragment! Okay, let's check the mall. Let's check the mall. Because the one thing I do want to do... Okay, I am going to save here, by the way. Already exists. Do you want to override this? Yeah, I do. I do. I really do. Me trying to prioritize stuff in any game that requires, like, priority is always, like, such, like, a difficult thing for me to, like, wrap my head around. I won't ask what you want any of this for. I just do what I think is right.
What'll it be? Running a little sale today. See if anything catches your eye. Uh-huh. What are you looking for?
I don't see anything like...
Take as long as you need.
I see the sale reason is pretty good.
What'll it take as long as you need?
But I'm also like... Whoa, that's new, isn't it? That is new.
That what you want?
Yeah.
Great. It's all yours.
I actually... Yeah, that's really good.
You finished? Come back soon.
That's really good. Okay, so we can do that. Oh, we can technically do... yeah, we can technically do both. It's... So it requires my time. When can we go to practice? That's the real question. I know it's 4 days, I think. I think it's 4 days. I'm just gonna go to the first floor school building, I'll be honest, everyone. I think I'm just gonna do it. I think I'm just gonna, like, check the door from this side. Let's see.
Oh, what can I do for you?
As about student council.
Ah, yes. Kirito-san filled me in. All we need is your signature, so read through this and sign here. All right, looks good. You can leave the rest to me. Good luck in student council.
You now have access to the student council room. Oh, interesting. Oh, no, we get to do everything that I want to do. Oh my gosh, I was stressing over nothing. Oh my gosh, this is so good, everyone. Yes. Yes. Track practice. Yes. Yes. Track practice. Woo! Everything is paid. Yes. Wait. Dude, how are you gonna get on my level if you're slacking? You better shave. No. Please don't take it the wrong way. I realized something. I realized something. I realized something. Wait. People are gonna like wonder why did I do that. I'm checking the corridor and such. For like any like Twilight fragments, possibly. Or like any new stuff. Do you think it will bear fruit? I hope so. Yeah, it probably will. Seems to have a special meaning for the old couple at the bookstore. There's probably a point where it does bear fruit and then you give the fruit to like the couple as like a sort of like, yeah, it's nice. Yeah. I do want to do this. I do want to do this. Hold on. Hi, Miyamoto. Let's do this. Yep. Okay.
All right.
Today, let's see what you made of, but don't overdo it. All right. Yes.
My side is killing me.
Oh, I don't need to
might have
voice it.
overdone it a bit.
I could say toughen up, but I also could be like someone who cares. Don't push yourself.
I'm not giving up yet. I can keep going. How about you? You okay? You've really been pushing it. You don't even look tired. What kind of training regimen do you have?
Well, it's just a normal routine.
You say that like it's no big deal. Meanwhile, I'm dying over here.
Oh.
You're pretty crazy. Kinda sucks. You totally destroyed me. I knew the standards were high around here, but I never thought someone so good would be right in front of me. Okay, I've made up my mind. Listen up. I'm gonna make you eat my dust.
Sees me as a rival. I feel like we're becoming closer. Okay, great. Awesome. I just hit my knuckles. Oh! Track team! Hell yeah! The more time you spend with your social links, the deeper your connect relationships will go. You have with each person will unlock certain benefits. Depending on rank, you'll receive bonus experience when you use personas. With your current social links may lead to discovery of new ones. Try to form as many as you can. Hell
Sorry.
yeah!
Didn't mean to get so worked up.
No, don't worry about it, dude.
Let's get go. Ah!
What's wrong?
I think I might have twisted my knee. Forget it. Let's go.
I went back to the dorm. It's Yuko, the team manager. Should I say hello? I don't have the courage to, right? Or whatever.
Oh, it's you. What's up? Okay, sure. Why don't we stop somewhere along the way?
We did it, Reddit! Reddit! We did
It's
it!
tough being a team manager. You really don't get any respect.
Oh.
And the guys on the team all act like little kids.
Oh.
Where's my towel? Can you wash this for me? Ugh, I'm not their mother, you know. At least I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about gaining weight since I'm always running around taking care of them. How about you? Are you enjoying track and field?
It's fun.
Oh yeah? That's good to hear. Thought it might be boring for you, since you're so much better than everyone else. I can tell just by
Whoa.
looking. It's like you've got your own style, and you don't waste much energy. Well, if you have any questions, just ask Kaz. You know, Kazushi. You guys are in the same class, so I'm sure he'd be willing to help you.
Alright.
You can ask me too if you want, since I'm the manager.
Yuko seems to be looking out for me. I feel like the two of us got a lot closer. Another boy, let's go!
I
Yes! Oh, I'm doing so good. I'm doing so good. And I don't even... I don't even played this game before. But I'm doing
Thou
good.
shalt have our blessing when thou choosest to create
Hell
the
yeah.
persona of the Strength Arcana.
Oh, that's really cool that she's the Stripe Arcana. That's so cool, actually. Hell yeah. That's sick as hell. Oh, why are you calling her team manager? Call her by her name. Call her by
I've gotta
Yuko.
run. There's a show I want to catch. See you at school.
Call her Yuko. After saying goodbye to Yuko, I decided to go back to the dorm. The man in the game's like, oh yeah, just team manager. It's like, what? Come on. It's like, I feel like she's been slightly casted aside by the game. Like, what the fuck?
Welcome back.
What's up, dude? Alright, I heard you might be joining the student council. Kirijo senpai, you sure you want to let a slacker like this guy join? I'm not forcing him, but if you're concerned about his work effort, would you rather join yourself? Whoa, whoa, this shade throwing. I'll pass, but thanks for the offer. Oh, she just proved her point there. God damn. God damn, she really proved her point there. She. I still have money, actually. Unironically, I still have money. I think... Wait, I can work at the cafe. Wait a second, I can work at the cafe as well. That's... it's still the same stuff, unironically. I'm gonna check the bathroom, because the bathroom might give me insight into... maybe something? Nothing that any attention needs. I mean, I could talk to everyone, right? I could talk to everyone and do all of that sort of stuff, right? I'm always going to check the command room as well, even if, like, Mitsuru is not there. Just because my thought process behind it is the Twilight fragments can spawn literally anywhere, I think. So that's the only reason I'm doing this. I am going to check. I should also check my own room as well. from at it, because like anyway, I don't know where they could spawn or whatever. There's nothing good on. Will there ever be a point like, okay, can I be for real? Will there actually be a point where like there'll be something good on the television, right? Will there actually be something good on the television that will actually like be intriguing for my character to be like, yes. Part-time session open. Yes. As president of the student council, I'm really quite busy. It's quite rare that I have any time to rest. But stop by the student council room when you have time. I'll look forward to your contributions.
That reminds me.
Mitsuru asked you to join student council. Now it feels like you're being forced to, but I'm sure she could really use your help. Well, anyway, it's totally up to you, so give it some thought. I'm gonna check it out tomorrow. Well, let's tell you this, that sounds, I think I'll pass. Yeah, I knew you'd pass. You're such a passer. Can I not talk to you from the counter? What the hell? Okay. I want to be like, yeah, let me talk to you about it. Do I really have time for student council? I'm busy enough with archery, studying, fighting shadows. It's already kind of a lot. And I mean, Kirijo Senpai is just... Actually, it's nothing. Never mind. Don't be afraid to say your opinion. Jesus, I'm not gonna, like, slander you. I'm not gonna make fun of you. Say your opinion, please. It's important. It probably is important. Please, tell me. Alright, so respectfully, I think the cafe position might be one of the better options because I can improve two skills at the same time while doing the position. So the more days I have free within the Monday to Wednesday slots, like the better it will probably be. Does this refill? No, it doesn't refill. God damn. Shit, computer to the dorm. How do we get the computer to the dorm though? That's the real question. We got the burger, we got some burger. I like the burgers. We're gonna check the mall here. I'll stop by the Velvet Room because we do have a couple other what you call me trying to think of the name while I can't think of the name. Friendships. No, not friendships. Social links, as the game calls it. But I'm gonna call it friendships, okay? Right. Let me see. Raise his charm. I was gonna see if it. You know what? Actually, I don't think it's worth it right now. Like, I'll probably do it like a little later when I feel like, yeah, I've improved my stuff enough where I can start doing a fair amount of stuff, like a fair amount of like social related stuff. Anyway, cafe. Yes, I want to work part-time here. Let's do it, gamers! I swear it out while working part-time as a waiter. I was given a cup of the cafe signature Torobone coffee during my break. Awesome, awesome. Great, you love to see it. A drunken businessman tried to pick a fight with me, but I did my best to be honest. Oh. Interesting. Oh. But I hope you're okay. How is it wisely? How much is the paycheck? Because that's the thing I'm actually the least concerned about that. Was that 4,500? Or is that 5,000? I can't remember how much the paycheck was, I'll be honest, everyone. At least it increased my charm. And it increased my my courage as well. Let's head back to the dorm. Boom!
Good morning.
Have you gotten acclimated to our school yet? 'Cause that's the thing I'm actually Yeah, I have actually. I've got like
That's...
Your ability to adapt to a new environment is impressive. I've got that. I think I know. It's like by the way, if you ever need me for anything, yeah. Most times you can find me in the lounge. However, I won't be present if there's business I must attend to. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Very cool. If I'm not in the dorm at night, then you'll have to put off any exploration for another day. Oh, interesting. So we can't do exploration at certain days. Well, we understand. Yeah. No, I understand. There's actually certain days dedicated where you actually can do it. Interesting. I never knew that. That's very good to know. That's very good to know. That's us ended for today. There's also you that I can improve the friendship with. It's Ori. It's good for your skin. I'll show you what I'm made of today. I'll show you what I'm made of today. Yeah, sure. Because I need to do that. I heard you were invited to the student council. Kirisho senpai said so. I'm so jealous of you. I wish I could get invited. You think I should talk to her or something? I mean, you can talk to her if you want. You know, as long as you're being genuine about it. What do you mean there's nothing that needs my attention right now? You know what, I feel like I go to the toilets every time, and yet there is no purpose behind me actually going to the toilets whatsoever. But I mean, I feel like there's... Right, the student council room is here. Just to make sure we don't have like any time lapses or whatever. I am gonna quickly save here, by the way. Just because, wow, it's already been like an... It doesn't feel like I've been playing for now, honestly. It really doesn't. We've blitzed through like a fair amount of the days here, I'll be honest with you all. Enter. Okay. I feel like at some point the game's gonna be like, oh yeah, yeah, there's actually a Twilight fragment here. I'm just gonna enter every single one. I bet you're just gonna be like, oh, you see something glowing, and there you go, Twilight fragment. I forgot to go to the Velvet room actually. You know what? That's the one thing I made a mistake on, and yeah. I mean, it doesn't. It's not like it will waste any time anyway. It's more so like, if anything, I just forgot. Like, it's not like a huge hassle if I missed that. I could raise my academics realistically, but I also want to check. Could I also check here? Should I spend the time? I could. Again, I could. I am checking all places real quick though, before I head into student council, because I could check student council. I probably will check student council, but like I just want to check. I'm such a curious person. I'm like a rabbit off the leash, you know. I want to explore all the areas. That's how I feel. Oh, interesting. I want a cat too. I know my mom hates cats, but maybe I should ask her. I mean, hey, I love the outdoors, be with the fresh air, walking around, but you can even get bites to eat at the cafe or the burger place. I love coming here, even been skipping work. The thing is with the couple though, I just don't have anything.
It's real tasty.
low chance. It's not octopus. Yeah, sure, totally. I will totally have your not octopus. Which honestly sounds very questionable, not gonna lie. Umi Shu beef balls. I don't know what the beef balls. I mean, maybe I do know what the beef balls are. I just forgot. Naganaki's shrine. So you can only. So the shrine appears on the Tuesday. There's a point where I'm going to have like a schedule of stuff on like the phone, on like my phone, and be like, okay, do this, do a social interaction with somebody. Here we go. Do this, do this. Then do a social interaction with somebody. I feel like I'm gonna come to that point where I'm gonna do that. Let's go to the mall today. Whoa. I'm hearing some chat. Oh my, how did I get my charm to the rush just wait for the sale? Is it Saturday, the sale day at the OJ pharmacy? You know the coffee shop, right? That fancy looking one? Check it out. There's that club next to it. Kind of a mature hangout spot, I suppose. I can't say I approve of places like that, but I suppose I can't tell you what to. Hey, buddy. Okay, are you here for the arcade? If you want to know about the games, I can tell you all about them. Sure. You can either play House of the Deceased or Real Wheel Eraser. House of the Deceased is pretty scary. You'd increase your courage if you could stand it. Requires nimble finger work, so increases your agility. That about covers it. Oh, okay. Cool, awesome to know. There's the crane game, and there's also this place. I like how this is just called the back alley. Like, there's just no other context to it. It's just called the back alley.
Marvelous.
Are we streaming? Yeah, we are. But please, this is my gift to you. Please accept it. Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. How may I assist you? We look forward.
I just wanted to get my Twilight fragments. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so. Yeah, we have to go to the second floor. I just want to see what this is like. Monday, Tuesday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Oh, so I can't do it today. Gotcha. Okay. So I can do a social interaction then, right? What do I want to do then? All right, let me look at this.
Yo.
Kenji. Okay. Yeah, sure, I guess. And how about we go to the ramen again? I want to hear more about you too. Okay.
Man, this always hits the spot. This flavor's pretty addictive, huh?
Despite its simple appearance, the soup has complex flavor that's enhanced by the noodles. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for making me hungry. I didn't want to be hungry.
By the way, dude, why the hell is your dorm co-ed? Can you, like, just waltz on into Takeba-san's room and stuff?
What do I even say to this, huh? Like, what do you even say to them? No. Like, no way, dude. No way.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Can't win them all, I suppose.
Thank God the appropriate answers are like the right ones. I was gonna be like, what
I'm more
the
into
fuck?
older women. How about you?
I like them all.
Really? So you don't discriminate, huh? Interesting, interesting. That's an impressive lifestyle, man. To tell you the truth, this stays between us. I have my eye on someone. This is the secret plan I was talking about.
Oh my god. Oh
But get
my
this.
god.
She's a teacher at our school. Not like that's gonna stop me from making my move. But you gotta promise you won't tell anyone, okay? It might look weird if a teacher and a student are having a thing, you know?
I don't feel good about this, everyone. I'll be honest. I
Oh,
don't
crap.
feel good about
My
this.
favorite show's about to start. See ya.
Wow. just gets away and be like, oh my favorite show. Nobody I don't like has ever interacted with me like that. Being like, oh sorry, I have to go and watch my favorite show. What the hell?
Welcome back.
By the way, the internet line which was ripped apart by the shadow earlier this month will be fixed tomorrow. We can use the shared computer now for the net cafe, which means the net cafe should be accessed to us now, like very soon. If you have a computer in your room, you should be able to connect. Yes. Awesome. Sorry, the music's great. Look, if you don't like the music, everyone, what are you doing? Akihiko's ribcage. True. You're right. Speaking of the internet, you play any online games, dude? I mean, I do.
Yeah.
Nice. I got just the thing then. Here, you gotta check this one out. It's called Innocent Sin Online. I used to be totally addicted to it, but I got kind of burned out. Maybe you'll get a kick out of it. This was released in 2007, right? Or something like that? Somewhere around that point. Why do I feel like this is a reference to Sword Art Online or something like that? I feel like this is a reference to Sword Art Online. You know, maybe I'm like only referring to like the similarity in it only because the fact that it exists. Due to the Golden Week holiday, the highways are expected to be jammed on traffic conditions are expected to worsen from tomorrow until May the 4th. Cleared. Have a happy Golden Week. Happy.
Hello.
Really good, I'd
Fantastic.
say. And continue the great work. I just wanted to chat. Online games. Well, some casual recreation is fine, but try not to get carried away. If it should devolve into a unhealthy obsession, need I say the rest? I mean,
Oh?
yeah, discipline. Well, it has people all playing the same game together, and it's online, right? I imagine that makes it even harder to know who you're playing. I guess not knowing your enemies makes it easier in some aspects. But yeah, I prefer to look my opponent straight in the face before we compete. Hey, look, I'll contemplate it. I'm so glad we can start this at the end today again. Have you managed to check out the new summer clothes that are coming out now? I guess I could look at magazines, but it's quicker to just check online, plus it's free.
Oh yeah!
I hear lots of gamers love Innocent Sin Online. Well, since tomorrow's a holiday, you should play it, dude. Yeah, he definitely has that, like, Ryuji energy. But, like, he was the first Ryuji, I think, before Ryuji. So, yeah, it makes sense in that way. Right, everyone, I'm gonna check all the other places real quick. I'll see one, two, what the fuck? Want to let it all out. Oh yeah, you want to let it all out tonight? Again, I'm just gonna quickly check. I'm just gonna quickly check, you know what I mean? Like, I need to. I wonder who they are. I wonder too. I just need something to prompt for like Tartarus, that's the only thing. Because I feel like I've reached top floor. So like what can we do, you know? Let's check here. I do want to quickly check here just in case. I don't see anything here. Will the Twilight fragments stay in the same spot for the entire day? That's my question. Part of me wants to say no. We'll finally get access to that tomorrow, which is a huge actual plus. So, I kindly want to actually increase the academics, because it's been a bit since we've increased the academics. I could increase my courage, but I'm not going to. Actually, you want to know what the best? I don't want to, because I do want to increase the academics, but this is actually good. This is actually good. This is just good. Also, I can check again to make sure I'm pretty crowded today. I have to work more efficiently than usual. Okay. I offered my support to a co-worker who got scolded for messing up an order. Oh. That's unfortunate. I think having the double like social level ups is really good, and the money is also really good if I'm not spending the time in Tartarus. I think this is always like the best option if I'm not focusing academically. I think tomorrow we can focus on the academic stuff because of like the internet and such, right? I gave you a little bonus on top of your usual pay. Thanks for helping out during peak time. Nice. Okay. So Tuesday was crowded. I wonder if that's the same every day. I don't know if it'll be the same every day. That was 3,000, I think. 3,500 per day. I didn't really check, but I think it might be 3,000. It's 3,000 at least in some way. Will I get the level up soon, please? I should head back to the dorm. Yeah, sure. Alright, so we're here on the Wednesday now. Ooh. Today is show day. There's no school. I want to quickly check what show day means. What does show day mean? Because it probably exists in real life, right? Show day is a public holiday on April the 29th. And it's in Japan. It honors the birthday of Emperor Showa Hirohito, the reigning emperor from 1920 to 1989. Showa means shining or bright, and wa means peace, signifying in the enlightened peace that citizens receive. According to the now defunct Democratic Party of Japan, the purpose of the holiday is to encourage public reflection on the turbulent 63 years of Hirohito's reign, ranging from totalitarianism It is sometimes also referred to as Emperor System fascism, Japanese style fascism, or Showa nationalism. Interesting. This is why I really like this series, because honestly, I think one thing some people might take for granted. I'm not saying people will. I'm saying it is a possibility that people could take it for granted as the amount of IRL knowledge that is actually bestowed into these games that you might not be aware about Japan's culture and such. And it's really interesting. It's really cool. And I think this is also partly like the reason why I also want to go to Japan at some point. Is purely because I'm not expecting it to be, oh, it's going to be like the Persona games. No, it's more so the fact of like the culture, the information, its history behind it has always been really intriguing for me and such. The same date that in 1948, Allies International Military Tribunal for the Far East condemned key officials of the imperial government during World War II to death, including former Prime Minister Hideki Tojo. Interesting. Okay. Right. So I am gonna be right back, everyone. Hopefully, you all will enjoy the music while I come back. Oh, there's just no music, but I'll be back. Right. Oof. Wow. I honestly don't know why. That kind of just chuns like FPS. Come to think of it, I should be able to be connected to the internet now. Oh, this is quite convenient actually, I guess. That's unironically quite convenient. I wonder if that was like really intended just so like the game could be like, you can check this out. I could. That's interesting to learn about a little on show a day. Alright, so here's my question. Dear Makoto-chan, how are you being? Come by say hello, will you? Should I go to the bookworms? I could. Also, how do they have my stuff, by the way? I am gonna quickly check around stuff, by the way. I'm gonna quickly check around stuff. Alright. Like, part of me feels like maybe I should check around. Mad boo. Yeah, sure. That totally works out, huh? Command room. Alright, everyone. I don't see anything. Woo!
Salut.
The higher we advance up Tartarus, the stronger our enemies will call. Do you feel that your current equipment is adequate? Yeah, I think so.
I see.
That's good to hear. You should consider paying a visit when you have the time. Alright. Cool. So we can go here. What are you doing in Shrine though? You don't like the prayerful type. Some wild things. Wild things might happen to you, man. Wild things. Oh, oh. Okay. Well, I guess there was one there. Oh. Under the street light. Ah. You can choose to make a copy of one of your existing skill cards. Alright, I'll copy it for you. It's one of my hobbies these days. It's hard to choose just one if you have a bunch, so it's best to use them. That way you're carrying fewer of them around. You want gift paid. Magic. I'll actually take Garula because the Garula, I don't have a lot of wind coverage in all honesty, so having the wind coverage is going to be really beneficial. We could always check here because I've not checked here, but I do want to check the bookworm's place just so I have the friendship up, you know what I mean? I want to be nice. I want to have the friendship up. That guy next to the vending machine, he looks real depressed. I get depressed too when I feel like I'm wasting my money to watch a crap movie, but that's taking it to the extreme. Pathway syndrome? Yeah. Look, buddy, you might not be aware of people's problems, but sometimes you shouldn't make the judgment like that, you know what I mean? Sometimes you should just like let people live their days. A rich aroma. The smell. It smells splendid. Yeah, why not? I think we can get the education up here as well, right? At Bookworms.
Oh, you came back. Welcome. What was your name again? Oh, no need to tell me. I was just joking. I'm not that senile.
Oh.
My wife and I were just talking about you.
Oh.
Tell me, do you like this kind of treat?
Whoa.
Someone gave it to me, but I have more than enough. Go ahead and take it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to thank me for something as small as this. You're
Oh.
so polite, I say. You're like his complete opposite. Would you like another to give to a friend? We have so many. My wife and I would take forever to finish them all.
Yeah, sure.
Right then. Here you go. For real this time. What was your name again?
Goodness, dear. It's him, remember? My apologies. He's been terribly forgetful lately.
Oh.
Here you are.
Oh. Melon bread. Oh my gosh.
Say, where did that boy run off to, dear? He should be here helping customers. Sorry about that.
There's no need to apologize.
I'm sure you could use another youngster like yourself around, instead of talking to an old man like me. I'm sure our son will be back soon enough. Right, dear?
Oh, my dear, he's...
Wait, the music stopped.
Oh, that's right. Our son has already passed away. I'm sorry, young man. I apologize on behalf of my son for not being here to greet you.
Oh. It's so sad. What the hell?
Hey now, the two of you look like you just seen a ghost. It's dark outside. We don't need it to be dark in here too. Come visit us again, will you? We'll be waiting.
I left the elderly couple and went back to my dorm. I just want them to be okay.
Welcome back.
Sup, dude? Hey, you can use that computer over there whatever you want, by the way. You can put whatever software you want. Oh, but don't play online games on it. It sucks if someone else accidentally uses your account. Using the shared computer, you can use the shared computer in the first round of research or to run purchase software. All software is single use only and can be purchased from Manga Star Net Cafe. Like many activities, the computer will take up a portion of the game. The software is only single use only? What the fuck? And we have school tomorrow. I guess that means Tartarus is a no-go.
Nice.
I don't know, actually. I heard that anyone can use some pre-installed programs. Free to borrow. Should I borrow something? Digital Cram School. We're freely learning about a variety of practice questions from a famous school in the mountains. Whenever you're brilliant or average, your journey here begins by answering questions all the same. Here's I'm studying them right now. Oh. I finished answering a challenge, yet satisfying set of questions. I feel like I've gotten better at thinking outside the box. Oh yes, double academics, right? Yes, yes. Let's go. Yeah, yeah, right. I don't know why I went hutch. Sorry. I can hear people talking.
Hey, listen!
You can play computer games there, so I ended up trying a bunch of different ones. If you check out the Net Cafe, it just opened up.
Seriously?
I knew that they sell computer software there, but I didn't realize you could use them in the private booths too. So I wonder what the difference is between buying them and like... and seeing them in the private booth. But it's always so packed here, though, so I never feel like going. Yeah, it was super crowded yesterday too. It was a miracle I managed to get my own booth. Huh. I wonder what the difference is. What's the difference between the booth then and then purchasing the stuff? I'll just buy the game. It's probably more relaxing to play it at home anyways. Is that what it is? Do you gain more? The first bell is wrong. Wait, this means this is going to be a long day, right? Wait, I feel like this is going to be a longer day. Because it's...
Alright, alright.
I'm Edogawa and I'll be teaching. Oh, let's call it integrative learning. What do you mean by that? My goal is to ease some of the stress you suffer as students, of which I assume there is plenty. Oh, okay. I don't know, you make me very wary. You make me very wary, sir, when you're the person who literally offered, like, your student a poisonous carrot, my friend, as part of, like, the substance. Alright? I don't want to deal with that again. Thank you. Think of it as psychotherapy through magic. Yes, that's right. Quiet down. No talking. Silence, I say. Were you surprised to hear me bring magic up? Well, this study was very recently published, so it's not what we know and just shit. I'm very confused. Are you? But those who believed will be saved. In other words, the placebo effect is hard at work. That means believe your studies are paying off and eventually they will. Am I the only one, like, really? This person, man. Let's get on with our first lecture, the basics of magic. This isn't Dungeons and Dragons. Who can use magic and who cannot? That seems like a reasonable enough starting point. What? This is not Dungeons and Dragons. Some of you may think magic lets you do absolutely anything. What? Huh? Huh? Pulling pranks, raining vengeance on your enemies? Huh? What? Well, if those are the perverse wishes that run through your mind when it comes to magic, then I'll tell you that you'll never master the craft. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Genuinely, this is true of both Eastern and Western sorcery. Alright, mate, like, okay, right. Those with wicked hearts will be either powerless or driven to ruin. There's one more vital facet to learning magic. And that is the master. Practitioners should always aspire to become as knowledgeable as their predecessors, especially if they intend to study high-level magic. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Although a master's capable instruction, learning the craft becomes wholly impossible. I'm so fucking confused. I'm genuinely so fucking confused. Once you begin your training, you'll have to live in two worlds at once. The real world and the dark realm. Wait! Oh my god, it's just clicked in my head. He's fully fucking aware of the Dark Tower. That's what makes the guidance of a master absolutely vital. If you ever lose the ability to distinguish between the two, there you'll head straight to the disaster. No, I just realized, wait, I'm no longer confused. He's so fucking aware of the Dark Tower. With all of that out of the way, I'll move on to meditation, one of the standards of magical training. He's one of the few that is conscious throughout the Dark Tower. He's conscious in the Dark Tower. He's aware of the Dark Tower. He is so aware of the Dark Tower. No, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen. Because I've gotten courage and I've gotten what was it? charm a lot. If you think you might be interested in practice, try meditating on the course of your day while laying in bed. Like, people, like, I understand placebo effect. It's the fact, it's the use of like the terms of magic, and it's also in vivid detail. Recall each event taking place in reverse, sort of like traveling back through time in your mind. He is so aware of this. No. He is so like fourth wall aware. He. If you ever reach the point where you can do it flawlessly, you just may have what it takes to become a good magician. No, he is so fucking aware of Tartarus. He's so aware of Tartarus. He's so aware of the dark realm, of the dark tower. He must be so aware of it, right? He must be so aware of it. Like, that's the only logical like conclusion I am coming to, is he must be aware of it. Because if he's not aware of it, then like, am I missing something? Then am I missing something? I feel like I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I really don't know what to say to. I really don't know what to say about that. In all honesty, it was questionable, but also like, no, he's so aware of it. That's my instinct. That's my instinct. You can't. Meetings. Okay. We'll go there on the Friday. We'll go there on the Friday. Guaranteed I want to go there on Friday. I'm just going to check the men's room just to enter, just to see if there's anything that needs my attention right now. Let's run. Let's run. I wanna run as fast as I can. What do you want? What, you never seen a cell phone? Of course I have. I thought so. Anyway, I'm busy. Oh, alright, okay. Chill out, dude. There's a science teacher who brews his coffee in the test tubes. I wonder how it tastes. It seems kind of nasty. Oh, you're referring to him. You're referring to... Yeah. I still can't believe he fed the student a poisonous carrot. Like, no one's up in arms about that, except for me, I feel. Like, huh? Come on. Surely I'm not the only one. I'm actually going to check, because I've never checked this place.
What?
I'll shop. A book cover. I'll take one.
Come again.
I'll take a book cover. Why not? Why not? I don't see any problem with the book cover. Alright. Here's what I'm gonna do actually. Oh yeah, I'm going to check outside here real quick, because why not? I'm already here anyway. Okay. So, what do I want to do? Oh, you know what? I want to go to the running track and field. That's what I want to do. I want to do that. I just want to check. And then I might I know it's been very heavily like a social. It's been very heavily social. In terms of playing the game today. I hope people don't mind that. I could check maybe if I think I've sent. You know what? We're gonna do this. Yeah, why not?
All right, one more time.
Okay.
I'll show you what I'm made of.
All right.
Huh? Damn it! Seriously?
Miyamoto!
Cause!
This was not what I expected. Anemia? Anemia? What's anemia?
Come on, we're counting on you to be captain next year.
The big meet's next.
What's anemia? What's anemia? Wow, that actually is really getting me. Anemia. What is anemia? Anemia is a condition in which the body does not have enough healthy red blood cells. Oh my god, dude, are you okay? What the hell? Are you okay?
Dear, so you've got time. Just don't overdo it. Hey, you. Why don't you leave practice early and take him home?
Sorry.
I hope he's okay. Are you okay, bud? Are you okay?
What are you looking at? I'm fine. It's just, my anemia's acting up.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, no, it's nothing serious. God damn it, I can't do it. I can't lie to you. Look, the truth is...
Oh.
It's my knee. It hasn't felt right ever since that day you first came to practice.
Huh.
I tried medicine, I tried wrapping it, but the pain won't stop.
Is there treatment for anemia? Blood transfusions, supplements of iron and such. Okay, so it's all about the stuff you just
Of course you will. But I can't afford to stop training, so I'll play through the pain.
Alright.
Next year, there's a national competition. Athletes from all over Japan will be there. The regionals don't hold a candle in comparison. And if I want to win, then I have to spend the next year training. A lot of guys on the team are nosy as hell. If they find out about my knee, they won't leave me alone.
Oh.
So please keep it a secret, okay? We gotta look out for each other.
Alright. I got you. I understand. Chariot!
If I go easy on it, I can make it home by myself. Don't worry about me. You get on back to training.
Okay. I parted ways with Miyamoto and went home after practice.
Oh, it's you. Welcome back.
Hi, yes, it's me. I'm back.
Hey there.
But make sure you're fully prepared. You never know what will happen there. There's some aspects about that where you can simply manage with an unfair leader. I'm sure you don't want to put everyone else in danger, so keep that in mind.
By the way,
When we were fighting Ataris, I was thinking even shadows have stuff they're not good at. Like, they have weaknesses too. Like how I'm good at studying, you know, for a sec, I thought they were kind of relatable.
By the way,
Can't believe it's already the last day of April. It was probably one of the hardest months of my life, honestly. I hope I can relax a little next month. Oh. I'm sorry. I don't know what I can do, but I hope I can help. I'm just really hoping I can help with whatever I can do, you know. So I could study. I'm just always gonna check here, aren't I? I feel like I'm always like that one person who's just gonna check every single time. Look, I know not everybody will, but like, I'm fixated on making sure I cover all my bases. We have made a fair bit of progress though. We've completed a week already, I think. We're getting close to completing a week. Okay, so here's my thought process as we go to the strip mall. Because the strip mall, if I remember correctly, is a very peculiar thing, everyone. Very peculiar thing. He has the net kind of thing. It's right here. We can shop at it.
Welcome.
Available with sale at the counter. Manga Star Net Cafe's vendor PC software. You run purchase software on the computer at the first floor dormitory lounge. Alright, okay. That would try my best. For helping you attain a beautiful body by watching videos. Okay, so this for the official site. I'm just gonna purchase that. I'm just gonna purchase one. We'll see what it is if it actually uses it up and such, you know. Sorry, I just... That's just my thought process. When I see all that, I'm just like, I actually want that. It's always this bit. It's particularly this bit. High School of You. Raise charm. Ah yes, I love raising my charm. I'm gonna go to the Velvet Room. That's the place I'm gonna go to, everyone.
Marvelous. I'm looking forward to it. How may I assist you?
I just want to leave. I'm leaving. Bye-bye. 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 Sorry. I just thought I'd be a little cheeky rascal there with the all that, you know. Look, you know, sometimes you gotta be a little cheeky, you know, like, you know. What do I want to do? That's a good question. Do I want to go to Tartarus? Just see if anything's changed. I think something will change on the 1st of May. So... there's none. Oh, charm. Let's think. So... I'm really trying to think here. Charm seems to be pretty easy to get. Courage seems to be fine to get now. Seems to be a pretty consistent way. It's consistent way. I think courage might be the most difficult one to get, actually. If I'm focusing on the other ones. The quest with right or wrong answers or manners popped up on the screen. Should you arrive 10 minutes early to important meetings? No, you should arrive 10 minutes early to all meetings, not just important ones. The tricky questions continue. Oh, they're so tricky. Finish answering a large number of questions. The manners I learned might make me more attractive and respected. Oh, wait, that gives you 2. That's really good. Am I still like... I'm still flabbergasted. How are we not leveled up a single day? Alright, now we can go to the meeting today. It's been pretty warm lately, hasn't it? Well, it's already May. Isn't it wild how fast time flies? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Seriously, and a lot's happened. And I'm sure there's a lot more to come too. A Pape syndrome might not go away anytime soon either. Maybe we're the only ones who can fight shadows. Maybe we should be working harder. Besides, I'd get stronger too. I can't have someone else protect me all the time. I mean, you could feel that way. It's all about your preference.
Hey, did you hear? Sonata-san's getting checked up at the hospital today. He called me earlier and asked me to bring him something. Yep, he knows who to count on.
What?
He only asked you because you don't have anything better to do after school.
Hey, I resent that.
Just kidding. So, what do you want you to bring?
The class roster for 2E.
Class roster? What's he want that for? Well, I don't have practice today, so I guess I'll come along and find out. You're coming too, right?
Oh, I'd like to come. Fuck.
Cool.
Wait a minute.
What? Is there a problem?
Well, it was me, he asked.
I wanted to go to the meeting, but fuck.
Is Sonata-san...
Huh?
In this room, by any chance?
What are all of you doing here?
We came to see you, but you look like you're doing just fine.
That's because I'm just here for a checkup.
We done here, Aki?
Yeah, thanks.
I don't have time for this shit.
Who are you?
You're... Never mind.
Wait, what? Why does he know?
Who was that?
Why does he know?
A friend from school. Sort of. You know how the number of apathy syndrome cases has been increasing? Well, he knows a few people who are suffering from it. So, I thought we'd have a little chat. Hey, Junpei, did you bring what I asked?
Of course I did.
Thanks.
I'm particularly confused. Why does he know?
Let's get going.
Why does he know me?
Should you be moving your arm around so much?
I'm fine. I've wasted enough time already. I need to get back to my training.
By the way, Senpai, why boxing?
You mean, why did I choose the sport?
Yeah.
Well, it's not the sport itself I like. I just wanted to learn how to fight with my bare hands. I know what it's like to feel powerless. I don't ever want to feel that way again.
Oh.
Besides, I'm curious to see how strong I can get. It's like a game. Only I'm competing against myself.
That's one way of looking at it. But
Yeah.
hey, I got you. I'm into games too.
Yeah, video games.
That's true.
No, but like fighting games.
Whatever.
I don't think he got the point, unfortunately.
Oh, it's you. Welcome.
Oh, regarding Akihiko's recovery, it seems he'll still need some more time. Well, there's no need to rush things. You've all been working hard and it's a long weekend. There's been an uptick in the number of incidents recently. Perhaps it's just an unnecessary concern on my part.
Hey,
There's a shadow in your room, but he's actually totally normal. Like, it's no big deal. Normally people wouldn't be all like, I gotta heal up fast so I can jump back into the fight. He really is a boxing champ. Blows apart from us ordinary folks, huh? Something the matter? I just want to chat.
Yes? What is it?
We should be back tomorrow though. Okay.
Hey.
Did you think it was a friend of his? Shouldn't pry it. Nah. He didn't seem like
really
friends.
think so?
I wonder what the deal is then. Sanada Senpai said that guy goes to our school, but I've never seen him there, so it's kind of weird. He lurks among the shadows. He is a shadow himself. Oh my gosh! Wait, no, that's totally what it is, right? He's totally a shadow. Totally a shadow. Shadow of his. The shadows. The shadows. Okay, here's what I might genuinely do for the last 30 minutes, because I haven't done it in a bit. It was said that the number of incidents have increased. Possibly, so I might check out Tartarus. After, of course, checking outside real quick. Right, here's what I'm actually gonna do. Language made easy. Does this vending machine change regularly? Weekly, maybe? Mayhaps? Okay, let's check Tartarus. Whoops.
Yes.
Very well, we're around midnight. I'll let the others know. Yeah, let's do it. Because at some point, I think I will have to do it. I mean, of course I will have to do it. But I honestly feel like this might actually be the most beneficial thing to do.
Salut.
There's no rush in progress. Oh. So we genuinely just can't?
Yes.
We've gone as far as we can. So like what? Do I just like I feel like I do I just waste my time? Is that what I do? Do I just waste my time now? Makoto. 8:41. 8:51. That's the lounge.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, this just recently happened. So I guess I feel like I just do I just waste my I feel like I just waste my time. I am gonna go to strip mall. I am gonna get the other thing. It seems to be that because it's sold out though. Is it just a one-time purchase thing? Is that what it is? It's just a one-time purchase. Make your skin beautiful. Improve my charm. Raise your charm. Time will pass. There may be new items that aren't normally available. So there is possibly stuff, different stuff. I'm gonna quickly check the station. Always remind me to tell my customers to keep the station clean. Seems like there's a lot of littering going on these days, but I probably won't say anything. Why not? I am about to lecture my customers. If I didn't know, I would want to ride in my car, but the customer is always right, you know? Station people don't care about us anyway. What? No, but I care about you. Cat, by the way. Did you see the cat? I hope you all saw the cat. The cat's very important. Everything the cat says is always important. Yeah, I'll buy here. Iwadote. Let's go here. Let's just check here real quick. Can we work here? Not today. Let's check Game Parade, actually. It raises courage. Raises the equip persona's agility. It's 3,000. I want to see how much this improves. If this is worth getting for 3,000, we can compare. Don't phase me and I calmly dispatch many zombies. Ah. Honestly, that's a mood. That is not a mood, by the way. That's genuinely not a mood. Nah, I'm... I can hear people talking. I'm actually gonna rewind there. I'm so gonna rewind there. It is not worth it. It is so not worth it. Unless I want to raise the agility stuff. Yeah, not really, but I'm not gonna miss tomorrow's show.
Oh, totally.
You're talking about Tanaka's amazing commodities, right? When I hear that jingle, I can't resist buying something. I never miss it when it's on Sunday afternoons. I'm about to go broke. Shopping program that airs on Sunday afternoons. Since tomorrow's Sunday, maybe I'll turn on the TV in my room to watch it. Oh, okay. Okay, you know what? I don't care. I don't care anymore. It's 1,000. It's 1,000. I lose 1,800 for it, which might seem like a lot, but I literally takes guts to sleep if you get caught. But if you got the courage to doze off anyway, I guess you've got nothing to fear at that point. Hey there! Oh, it's Yuko! But they can't seem to recall who you are. I bet I'll remember once I see your face. You'll drop by the store. Could you come see me if you're free? I'll probably be in the hallway on the second floor. I do want to see Yuko. I want to chat to Yuko more. Oh, Yuko's literally right there. I'm gonna check to see. My parents are bugging me to choose college. Who decides that stuff in their second year? I just started. They say the best way to make God life is to make a plan. I bet my parents have made him die laughing. Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, sure. I heard Sanada Senpai was hospitalized. I'm always okay. What if he got hurt during boxing practice? I bet he got in the fight some real fisticuffs. I wish I could have seen it. I love watching martial arts. I don't think you would have wanted to see it. It airs on Sunday. Yes, it's so important.
What?
Restores. Okay. I think she's following me around. How should I deal with this? I don't know. Just deal with it. First thing I do when I get to school is look for him. Just seeing him makes him smile. What should I do? How should I express my feelings to him? Simple. Just be expressive. I guess. I don't know. I just said... I literally just said, just be expressive, I guess. Don't... Don't take my advice literally. That might actually be like the worst advice I've said ever. Just be expressive. No, I don't mean it in a bad way, but like it's so vague. That's the thing with it. It was just like so vague. Okay, it might not be the worst advice I've given actually. It was probably the most vague advice I've gave ever. One of these are used by a club that meets in the home economics room. I mean, probably. Right? Probably. Alright, so... I still don't see anything here. I'll be honest with you. I really don't see anything here. Now, I could be wrong, and I probably am wrong. But... I still have to check. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Okay. Yeah. Meet with Yuko. Yeah. Oh, Yuki-kun. I actually gotta head out now to do some shopping for the track team, like buying athletic tape and stuff. There's a lot, so it'd be nice if I had an extra hand or two to carry everything. Hint, hint. Oh. Hint, hint. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I know what you mean. I can't rely on the other team members at all. You get it, right? Oh. I bet it not as bad. I bet it not as bad. I'm saying this and I have no idea what they're like, the rest of them. Apart from like one of them, and that's it.
Okay, shopping for club stuff is done. Good thing you came with me. I didn't realize there was so much to buy. Also, I wasn't really in the mental state to do this alone today.
What happened?
Oh, nothing major. Maybe I was exaggerating a bit.
Oh.
Still bothering me, though. In today's classic literature pop quiz, I didn't know any of the answers. And before I knew it, I dozed off. I ended up handing in a blank paper.
I could say it's bad, but I mean... I mean, I don't say, like, you are at fault here. You are at fault here. You are at fault here. That's just, that's me being honest here, I'm sorry. I could always change back, but I think it wasn't your fault.
I know, right? I didn't do it on purpose. But then Mr. Akoda got all pissed off. He called me to the faculty office and told me I had to write a reflection essay. I had to listen to Mr. Akoda lecture me.
For real though, when it comes to punishments like that, like, what do you think is the benefit of, like, actually, like, doing that? Like, ensuring discipline on somebody? I don't think it works that way. It's more sort of like, if they haven't done it, like, then maybe, like, I don't know, actually addressing the issue directly with, like, okay, here is, like, something for you to, like, help on this classic literature stuff, rather than, like, a reflective essay. Like, does the reflective essay even help the classic literature, like, quiz? No, it doesn't. Like, if this quiz was important, then, like, and she didn't know any of the answers, then it's like, then we'll go back on the material that's, like, this is maybe like address. Okay, it was something happened, and so,
Me
you
for
know.
the longest time. He was all like, this rate you'll end up as a good-for-nothing adult, and you're not putting enough thought into your future. Come on,
The voice actor is
it's way
pretty
too
good
early
for
to worry
that.
about the future, isn't it? We're still just teenagers.
That's true.
Right? We should be allowed to enjoy ourselves now, while we still can. Honestly, I haven't really thought about my future at all.
That's
I'm
something
working
I
hard
didn't
for the
do
track
enough.
team, so I think that's good enough for now. As for the future, well, I've got plenty of time to think about it later.
I stressed so much during my time in school. Like, it's like, I will actually highly say this. Do enjoy it as much as you can, you know. Like, obviously be disciplined about it, but like, do enjoy it as much as you can, because you've only got like, you've got one chance at it, you know. I wish I could have approached school very differently. But hey, I still hate that they call her team manager.
I guess this isn't the best place for a long conversation, huh? I'm gonna go drop these off at the storage room. See ya.
Yeah, sure.
Ouch.
Ow.
Hey, it's dangerous to be running around here. Wait, aren't you?
Oh, Auntie Yuko.
How many times do I have to tell you? You can call me Big Sis, nothing else.
Oh no, they're gonna catch me. See ya, Auntie.
Hey, wait!
What?
And he's gone. That kid lives across the street from me. Why on earth are they playing tag in a place like this? I mean, it's dangerous, right? They should go play in the schoolyard or something. Oh no, the school gate is gonna close soon. I'll see you at practice.
Yeah, sure. I say go back to the dorm. I wonder what the frame rate issue is at that area. Is it about just finally the 3-day weekend starts tomorrow? I asked some peaks Tuesday whether to hang out, but the only ones interested were guys. Need I remind you that midterms are quickly approaching, and here I was thinking I could just live in blissful ignorance for a few days. So let me ask this. What do I want? I'm trying to figure out. Made use of Wild Duck. Used the shared computer. That's kind of how I felt as well. Everyone's average level, Tartarus levels, Explorer. 21 check. Huh. So, I guess, from what it seems, I feel like I'm already ahead of the curve from that stuff. Because that was like, oh, that's 21, so people were just thinking, wait, what? Gonna spend Golden Week the same way I always have, lazing around, hanging out with dudes. No, I don't love your company, my dude, but it's just sad, too sad, even though I'm a chained man this year. It's just about Golden Week. I was looking forward to improving on past year's Golden Week training routine. Regimen. But I guess that won't be happening this year. I just wanted to chat. It'd be difficult, but you'll be fine as long as you're diligent about studying. You just transferred and then more hospitalized. I'll see what I can do to help you. Oh yeah, that's true. You know what? I actually completely forgot that Makoto was also like transferred to a hospital. Especially since we're be busy studying for midterms right after it. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, it's because it's close to that button. Okay. So, my thinking is... I kind of want to do... Let me quickly check. Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forget you can just like do that. There's none. I think I want to raise the courage. I said to try the new burger. Our staff will look apologetically at me. Oh, we got the courage! We got the courage level up! Let's go! Let's go!
Hi, how are you?
You again?
It's been a while. Are you well? 1 week from now, there'll be a full moon. Be careful. A new hardship is coming.
What kind of hardship?
You'll run into one of them. You need to be prepared, but your time is limited. I'm sure you're aware of that, though. I'll come see you again when it's over. Goodbye for now.
All right. Thank you so much for saying that to me in front of my face. I really, really do appreciate it. It's the beginning of the 3-week holiday Golden Week. Wow, they have a lot of holidays during this time. Students have a lot of holidays during this time. Come to think of it, that home shopping program on TV will be on during the day. Bro. So we should check that out. There's something else that happens on Sunday that I can't remember. There's a... It'll probably be in the messages. It's almost time for the home shopping show. Play any online game. You can use the computer in your room to play Innocent Sin. It'll take up time, but you might meet new people. I might. But she wants to see Makoto-chan.
Yo!
What's up? You got no plans today either?
Yeah.
I can't believe that I don't have anything to do during Golden Week. And doesn't ask me if you want to do anything for Golden Week. Do nothing once in a while, is it so bad? If nothing else, I've learned some new ways to kill time. That said, this is just one day. I don't know what spending multiple days in a row like this. Akihiko's injuries will need more time to fully heal. Will you be able to continue fighting with only 3 members until he returns? No problem. Your confidence is commendable. I wish you the best of luck. What is my stats, by the way, actually? That's a good question. Oh, we're all level 11. They spent time with Maya, which I have no clue who Maya is. Everyone's average level is 10. Oh, I'm so ahead of the curve here. I guess you could spend time with the Yuko. You know, actually, I want to check out the game. I do want to check out the game. I also want to check. I do want to check if there's other stuff as well. I suppose I could always go here and duplicate cards, because I don't think it costs anything. Yep, I see you back. Go there and go on and pick which card you like to duplicate. Pierce damage. Alright. Port Island Station. So I'm definitely doing this. Let me check. Yeah, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I want to play the MMO. RPG. Oh, the year 199X. I have one new message. From Phil. Reality is just a series of events and players acting out what they believe to be true. When we accept that fact, our world becomes as real as any other. Reality is a reflection of our own thoughts and expectations. But what if we were merely reflections in someone else's mirror? Are you prepared to look through that mirror to discover the truth? I'm in Shinagawa Dungeon. Ha! What a reference, huh? I don't see any other players. A girl in red approaches me. Stop. Oh wait, are you a noob? You are, huh? Oh wow, you haven't even finished making your character yet. Guess the new default skin thing was for real. I got this cool outfit in the patch too. Not like it brought in many new people. This is kind of a dead MMO these days. Welcome to the game. Cool to see you around. Who are you? Sorry, I got kinda ook there. I don't know what ook there. We are supposed to be our alternate selves, right? Yeah. So, what are you gonna call your character? All I see is no data. Hey, I got a good name for you. How about Tatsuya? Yeah, that's perfect, Diabo. I'll change mine to Maya, okay? Have a little deja vu? I don't know what that means, but I'm just gonna say that's clever. Oh really? I'm impressed. I didn't think many people played that. Well, if you see any jokers, be sure to rescue me, okay? Anyway, I'm literally idling here on my days off, so if you're bored, maybe we can level together. It sucks to be lonely. I become acquainted with a player who goes by the name Maya. Social Link! Hell yeah.
I am thou.
Hell yeah.
Thou art I. Thou hast
This has been
established
heavily
a new
sociable, by the way. There has been zero combat I have like been a part of.
To create
Which is fine, honestly.
of the Hermit Arcana.
You know what? That makes sense, huh? Online game? What? No! We just refer to it as Maya? Like, it's not obviously a person. Sorry, got to go. Remember, let's make forever pause to Tresto. I don't know what Tresto is. Maya's player signed off. I decided to log out as well. Yeah, I'm honestly confused by it. Maybe that's just me.
Yo.
So that's what they meant by Maya. So I heard this from a friend. Word is, there's a guy at Escapade selling URLs for unusual sites. URLs?
Oh yeah!
Probably not the kind of sites your average Joe could just stumble upon himself, you know. Does sound pretty interesting, but let's say club like that. Probably got security up the wazoo, no? Students ain't allowed in places like that. You need some serious courage to go in anyway. So what you're saying is, I'll be the commander today. If you want to go to Tartarus, come and let me know. I'll be able to join you as well. Yeah, but I don't. What do you want me to do? Oh, like. Anyway, I'll probably do the exact thing.
That reminds me.
From morning till night, I'll be toiling away like a robot. Rest in peace. Ha ha ha. You're so funny. I'm sorry, that's even quite sarcastic. That's because it was. I'm really trying to think here. Well, this was like 1200, but this gave me, like, the other one gave me like 2, and that, wait, I was only able to lose the other one next, but yeah, conversational dialogues paired with pictures for overseas travelers. The protagonist wants to go into the airport, but keeps getting distracted on the way. Oh, right. I wish this to speak with broken grammar to get a discounted burger. Huh? Eventually, the protagonist overcame the language barrier and reached the airport. Oh, okay. I feel more confident in my speaking skills now. Alright, that's very cool and all. That's very cool and all. But where's the level up? I want the level up. Ah, yes. Eh. Sorry, it's gotten late. I should head back into my room. Oh, I didn't go to the command room. I got a text message. Hello, Refresher! What are you up to today? If you're free, let's go somewhere. We could, but I also will be back. I'm going to take a quick pee. We'll do this day at least, and I think I'll be done.
By the way,
It would be funny if all of my knee problems turned out to be growing pains. I mean, honestly, I could relate. Honestly, I don't want to get any bigger than I am right now. It's not like I'm going to go into pro wrestling. Oh. I mean, I understand what you mean by that, but I mean, I wouldn't worry about that, dude. Especially... Oh, you can have my rice if you want. Here, take it. For anybody who isn't aware, like, professional wrestling in Japan isn't really about, like, the size of the person, necessarily. If anything, it's more about, like, how much you can endure. They work like a very stronger, like, a more stiffer choreography, compared to everywhere else, normally. Like, they hit hard. And the scene for it is huge. The scene for it over there is huge, genuinely. I think probably like the second like largest audience behind like the Western audience, I think, or something like that. It is massive. It is huge over there. But man, their stuff is stiff as fuck. Like some of the stuff that you hear from that it sounds like gunshots, honestly. And I'm genuinely surprised like how they are able to withstand that. I give them all the credit. I'm trying to cut down on carbs. I know it's a diet thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I gotta watch what I eat these days so I can build muscle mass. Yeah, I was correct. Like, that's one thing I remember is like people think I'll do whatever it takes to win the regionals. Remember, it's all about the mindset, Yuki. That's true. It's really interesting, like, running has a... So there's a period where, like, of course you do dietary and stuff, right? Like nutrition. But it's... I really do want some rice. Just having it right in front of me is torture. I'll wait for his dialogue. I think... Oh. No, I got snapped out of it. This is perfect mental training. Go ahead and eat it, UK. Oh, what? Okay. Come on, just shovel it down. What? After finishing the meal on the Miyamoto's watch, I headed back to the dorm. So here's the thing, like, what I am aware with like running nutrition and stuff is there is like a small point window where they bulk like carbs and stuff, right? I think, or something. I could be wrong, or they at least bulk in terms of food. Like there's a certain window before like doing marathons and such. I don't know if it is the same for running actually necessarily, because like running in a marathon are like actually like very like they're similar but also different enough to where it can be different, you know what I mean? I just want to see if she has anything interesting to know.
By the way,
have you been studying for the midterms? You might want to start now if you haven't, since we'll also be busy with Tartarus. Not only we can tell people that we were too busy fighting shadows to study.
Hey.
Do you actually think about the enemy's next move and stuff during battle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, guess it would be, huh? Yeah, it's important to analyze the situation and quickly think of a strategy during battle. I agree. Watching the enemies every step and thinking 2 steps ahead of them would be ideal. A victory would be assured. We're counting on you, UK.
Oh, right.
If you're looking for Mitsuru, she's in the command room training her detection skills, but she says you can still let her know if you want to head to Tartarus tonight. Is that all it is? Because the progress there still seems to be the exact same shit, and it's like...
Yes? What is it?
Were you looking for me? I'm training my Persona's ability to detect enemies. Can't say for certain that large enemy, like the one from last month, won't attack it. There's no excuse for being unprepared. We can't afford to let ourselves get caught off guard. Yeah, I had a feeling people would just go to the daily stuff. My thing is, I think people would just work at the cafe, realistically. I think the cafe is probably a place. I am gonna go. I'm just gonna quick travel here because it's gonna be easier. You do have stuff on sale.
Take as long as you need. Take as long as you need. What are you looking for? Take as long as you need.
It's 800 and such. Can I sell anything actually?
What'd you bring?
Did I grab anything that I just honestly do not need? A sash like the samurai wore kindles a tiny bit of vitality. Whoa, the beat is kinda a lot, honestly. I could actually unironically sell the melon bread. I've got 2 bombs of life actually.
All done here? Come back soon.
So here's the thing. I do want to check the game parade just in case. I won't be able to buy anything, but I just wanted to check just in case if there's like a constant rotation of that sort of stuff. Alright, I am going to work at the cafe. I think the cafe is just going to be the best. We'll spend time at it and we'll work part-time, and then that way we'll have money to possibly buy and get her stuff just before the day happens in case I have to ever rewind. I'm working part-time as waiter. Just in case if I ever have to rewind to the day before, I could maybe do that. I found an infamous bug and got rid of it before customers noticed. Here's a paycheck for today, try to use it wisely. Okay, so it's about 2,500. Surely my charm should have been increased by a level by now, right? As I expected. I'm unpolished, apparently. That is certainly something. But at least I leveled up the stuff. I think that's important. Hell yeah. I do want to increase the academics. Please let it be someone else. Got a text message. I'll be free till the afternoon. I might as well. Because we're getting the days off of this, so I think it's all about, like, the game trying to, like, prep you.
Oops, my bad.
Hey, sorry to ask you to hang out all of a sudden. Nah, it's fine. The rest of my family's out today. Kinda didn't want to eat all by my lonesome, you know? That's when I remembered you eating ramen like it was your favourite thing ever. Great mind, Joe. I mean, I think like it was more so your favourite, buddy, but you know, I won't question it. I won't question it. I don't trust guys that don't enjoy their food. What do you mean? Huh? What do you mean you don't trust them? No, hold on. Buddy. I'm not a fan of you. Personally, you make judgments on like people and it's like, you shouldn't make these judgments on these people. I feel like if people don't enjoy their food, it's like, okay. That's very noteworthy to know and such, you know? Like, that's important. But if people don't really particularly eat food and such, you know, then I'd be like, are you okay? Like, like purely out of worrisome for like the health sake, you know, and such. Like, you know what I mean? Even there's those guys that pretend it's good even if they don't like it. Can't trust them either. Alright. What did I say to this, huh? Are you picky about your food? I'm not, honestly. I really am not. Like...
For real?
Yikes, you serious? You must be overly forgiving. I just can't stand some food personally. Like vegetables, they're pretty much just leaves. I'm not a bug, you know. Tomo Chica says, I feel like we didn't get any closer today. Did I pick the wrong option?
Anyway.
What do your taste is like? Next time, what type of food do you like? You into the cute type or the sexy model type? Long hair or short? Oh. So I just wasted it.
Welcome back.
What's up, dude? Yeah. We got some... Sorry, everyone. I kinda have to go back on the clock a little. Oh, do I have to go back to the Monday? Wow, you can go back so many days? Okay, what did I do here? I just want to make sure. I am doing the thing that I did last time. Oh yeah, I went to the cafe, right? Yeah. I went to the cafe. Alright, okay.
Right.
Pure charm.
Done already?
Yeah.
Again, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, we'll just we'll just like we'll get this over with, everyone. We'll get this over with. I'll just like fast forward all of that. There you go. We've already went through that, you know what I mean? Like, we've already went through that. So, he would like the response that I prepare certain stuff. That's what it is. He's the type of person who prefers that people prepare certain stuff. I refuse to eat certain things.
That's right.
There are just some things that make you want to scream, this ain't food. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's right.
Oh, I totally hear you. There are just some things that make you want to scream, this ain't food. I mean, mushrooms aren't just fungus, right? Seafood's kind of pushing the limits too. What? What? You're wrong. Sorry. I hate stuff like ginger and beefsteak plants. Why in the world would you eat roots and leaves? I learned a lot more. Well, now I know what your taste in food is like. Next up, what type of girl do you like? Good.
Welcome back.
What's up, dude? Hi. Honestly, aren't back yet. Guess we won't be going to Tartarus tonight. Yuko-tan said she's gonna go study in her room. What to do? Study. Karaoke. %. Nobody did anything else. So, here's my thinking. I can either... I can work at the place again. Okay, you know what I want to do actually? I just want to see. I'll do the cafe. I'll do the cafe. I'll quickly check other places real quick, just in case if there is any Twilight stuff, you know. I actually don't know how much materials and valuables. Okay. I've got 19 Twilight fragments actually. I do, you know what, I want to quickly check the other place real quick, because maybe there might be some Twilight fragments I am just missing out on. I just don't see any. You know what I mean? I just don't. Maybe I'm not looking at the right places. Let's go to the net cafe.
Come on.
Adults need courage to defeat zombies through typing. For growing your mind for meditation. Courage. Courage.
Come again.
I'm very... I don't know why I'm here. You know what? Maybe I just want to check, you know? Maybe there is something here. The crows. Alright. What I might do actually, hold on. Because I know it's under the system. Have I figured it out? I figured it out. It was the reflections, wasn't it? Oh my god, that's what it was. It was the reflections. Okay, that's really good actually. I will take that. Yeah, let's work here. I mean, I might as well, right? Okay. There seems to be a pattern here. I should always work here on Tuesdays. I should always work. I think I'm almost got the scheduling sorted with stuff, by the way, which is actually really good. Already within the first month, I've kind of got an idea for the scheduling. Like the other days are sort of free and such, right? So Tuesdays I should always work. Monday I should do the athletics team. Wednesday I should do studying related stuff, I feel. And go to the council. The student council as well. That's the idea. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Okay, so I've got 7,000. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is different. Wait. Network error. Oh. I was so confused. I was like, huh? I can hear people talking. Golden Week is over. I'm so sad. You know, rabbits can die from sadness.
Excuse me?
Okay, one, you're not a rabbit, and two, it's not sadness, but loss of appetite. No way, I thought for sure it was because of heart. Sorry, what? Oh, speaking of sad, I saw an elementary school kid at Nakanaki Brown the last time I visited. Huh. She looked so sad playing all by herself. I felt sorry for her. Oh. Oh. An elementary school student alone at Nakanaki Shrine. I wonder if she's having some sort of trouble. Yeah. I'm so invested in this game, by the way. I really am. I genuinely am. Like, not everyone's gonna be invested in this game. Look. I am, alright. I don't really feel like teaching today. But you're a teacher, what? Last night I was watching TV when I saw a special on trains. I forgot to check the special on Sunday, didn't I? Traveling by train is always nice, isn't it? Staying in a sleeper car is a traveler's dream. I forgot to check the TV ad. Well, good job me. Maybe it accumulates time. Wait, it didn't last time. Speaking of trains, let's talk about the rhombus-shaped instrument on the roof of the train. on the roof of the train, the rhombus-shaped instrument on the roof of the train. Power is generated when a device comes into contact with the overhead wires. Oh. Wait. I think I'm...
Then?
You look like you know what I'm talking about, Yuki. Let's see if that's the case. Wait. No, you did not read my mind. What do you call the device that helps generate electric power for the train? It's a pantograph, right? Or something? Right? I think it is. It's a pantograph. It's not a master controller. It's not piston either. Or perhaps you're simply a rail fan. No. I've heard of the terminology before. Most modern trains take in the electricity by bringing the pantograph into contact with the overhead wires. Right. Okay. Cool. However, the monorail we use has the pantograph hidden under the train instead. Oh, right. Okay, so what you're saying is... I'm a shapeshifter. Sorry. What else could I be? And that is Persona. We can finally do the student council. There's the lonely girl. Will this spend time? Okay. I will say I am gonna say there is two stuff there. An old man's request. Why don't you come visit us? I'm sorry. I do want to visit you. I do want to visit. I do want to visit the couple. It's just so much. So this is no prize skater. You want to hang out again? I know how you're doing too. Aren't I the perfect team manager? Alright, yeah. I want to check the student council. Right, let's just see if it wastes time. I don't know if it wastes time.
All right, everyone. This is who I've been talking to you about. He'll be joining us in student council starting today.
Ah, so he's the one. I'm Hidetoshi Odagiri. I supervise the disciplinary committee.
I'm Chihiro Fushimi, the treasurer.
Huh.
I'm a first year, and, I'm still learning the ropes, so please be patient with me.
I'll say this.
You must be quite talented to be handpicked by the president herself. I look forward to working with you.
I think I made a good impression of Odaki. I joined this student council, got to know the members. I hope I get along with everyone here.
I am thou. Thou art I. Thou hast established a new bond. Thou shalt have our blessing when thou choosest to create a persona of the Emperor Arcana.
Ooh. Student council. Huh.
It's getting late. Introductions will be enough for today.
I got you.
What we want from you is to assist us as necessary. From now on, you have my permission to enter the student council room whenever you wish. Your time is your own after school, but try to remember the student council every now and then. We meet on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but we don't meet on days before tests. Thanks for coming today.
So here's my question then. Should I... I'm just going to theoretically check this. I just want to check this, that's all. I'm glad I did save at the point I did. Have more people been getting Epiphany syndrome lately, or am I just imagining things? For some reason, I feel like something bad is going to happen, but maybe I'm just being paranoid. I feel like anything's really happened since that one day, so we should be fine, right? You are the biggest foreshadower of the century, by the way.
Salut.
Did you have a productive Golden Week? As for myself, I generally stuck to the same routine I follow every Golden Week, although I did keep a close eye on Akihiko to dissuade him from trying anything reckless. Okay. Here's my thought process. I want to quickly check. I am going to check the little girl. I want to see if that interaction... I want to see if that interaction does anything or something. I can always check the council on Friday. And I think I will have to check the councils on Friday. So I think that's just the most appropriate. Because a lot of the other stuff happens between the other days. So I think the other days kind of fell down. I think Friday will always be like sort of the student council. So I mean, I don't know. Right. Let's rewind. Because I did save here. It sucks trying to make new friends when you transfer. Oh, okay. Why do you always light up again? You're not saying anything different, to be honest. Okay. So, hey, have you heard about the ghost in the home ec room? I have actually. What if I say no to you? I heard there's a ghost in there, man. The sewing machine will be on, but no one's inside. Oh, you'll hear weird noises coming in from there. Oh, okay. Also, clearly an accessible point in the map that I just don't have access to yet, huh? Interesting. Let me quickly check this place. Oh, so you are also a Persona card as well.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Michael. Say don't talk bad people. Are you a bad person? No, I'm good.
Really?
Really? You're not lying, are you? I can't play right now because I'm hungry. There's something I really want. I want to eat something round and hot and soft too. I just get a food that's round, hot and soft.
Ooh.
Round, hot and soft. Okay, so let's go to the strip mall then. Because there should be food. Food that's round, hot and soft. Ah. I gotta really think. Okay, so this one. Round, hot and soft. Oh, I just enter here?
Welcome.
Kitties are so nice.
Hi, Robbie.
Get them down and spin them round and tickle their bellies twice. Oh, kitties. Oh, kitties.
Kitties are so nice. Robbie, how was your stream? Tia, thank you so much for joining. Of course, the important thing, self-care if you have to do it, you know, all that. I'm changing my scheduling regime, everyone. Her song is hilarious. I know my friend Toby did it literally like 3 years ago. It's such an old song, but I love it. Hi. If you don't know me, I'm Jam Jams. That's all you need to know. We're I'm doing something different now in terms of streaming. I'm not just going to do variety stuff. I'm going to stick to one game because apparently, hi, Tia. By the way, I'm responding back to you. Hi. Hi. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, everyone was like, I prefer if somebody's playing through one game at a time and like maybe with a collab sort of event like from time to time as well. The response was a lot, so I'm gonna go with this option. So I'm gonna be playing through Persona 3 Reload until I beat the game, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope you are all too. And if you're not enjoying it, probably for good reason. It's probably because I'm the one talking, and interrupting such good shit. Anyway, how are you all doing? I hope you all are doing well. Thank you for the raid again. I'm also trying to narrow down my games and focus on playing through stories and stuff. Dude, I totally understand it. I just I just asked people because I was curious, and several people were like, "Yeah, you should. I prefer you do this, please. Thank you. All right, piss boy." And I was like, "Okay, I'll be your piss boy, and I'll do that." They didn't say the piss part. I just said the piss part because I thought it'd be funny. Anyway, I uploaded something on YouTube, so hey, yeah. If you don't want to watch the YouTube video, the TLDR is I'm going to be persistently uploading on YouTube again, both long form and short form. And yeah, there you go. And hopefully it will be the best quality of stuff since I've learned a lot. Particularly in the past few months. I know, I'm so good at this, aren't I? I resumed the 14's main story today because I haven't finished it, so that's my shooting plans for the next hour. Dude, I totally understand it. I've heard this game has probably likely 50 plus hours in it, so I'm probably going to finish this particular game. Depending on how much I get done, like near the end of February or the beginning of March, around that. We're out here making content. We are content. What do you mean? Hold on. This is content right here. Respectfully, like, there you go. That's content. Now you're going to be like, oh, I got a free kiss from Jam Jams. My gosh. You're gonna make me blush. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on with me. I streamed for 5 hours like a couple of days ago, which has been like my longest stream in like a hot minute. And yeah, well, what am I doing here? Perfect. I know. I'm so good. Hey, Chris, thank you so much as well. Hey, Chris, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you. I genuinely, you want to know what it was? It's because our names are like this, like so similar in like hue color that I didn't realize you came in as well. But thank you, Chris. I hope you're doing well as well. I hope Tia's doing well as well. I hope you all are doing well. Anyway, Persona 3, hell yeah. Oh wait, that's the wrong song. I'm so sorry. I've just embarrassed myself. I can't. I've drank 3 liquids on stream, Icarus. I've drank some tea, I've drank some hot orange and honey. And now I'm drinking water. I'm drinking water, everyone. Also, wait, everyone. Anybody who's sub, I've got a new emote. Shall I show you all my new emote? Actually, let me show you all my new emote. I love it because it's such a meme. Let me show you my new emote. It is a meme and a memeing and dreaming. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? I uploaded it somewhere. I want my fucking emote. Give me my fucking emote, Twitch. Where is my emote? I'm gonna do it from mod view because apparently Twitch just don't want to like show a new emote. Does it show here? No, it doesn't show on my OBS. Okay, that's great. It doesn't want to show on my OBS. Here you go, everyone. That's my new emo. I hope you all... Thank you. I was like, I had a what the fuck emo for a while, but it was such poor quality. The emo originally was like me, like pretty much like 64-bit quality, like 16-bit quality, like horrendous. Well, it was on Discord because my internet was doing some injustice towards me. So we're doing Justice back. I'm bringing back the old, but it's brought with some quality gold. You know, it's so good. Oh, I could kiss it. Teriyaki. Restores 1 HP to an ally. Low chance of a side effect. Nobody told me this. Excuse me. This is... I'm sorry. I'm gonna buy that. Okay. Let's think here. I gotta check something. There's one thing I've gotta check. The Yongo Persona 3. I will be lucky in wrapping up the things. No worries. I totally understand, Robbie. Thank you so much for raiding me again. I really appreciate it. The same goes to you and everybody. If you have to like raid and run, I understand. Okay. Okay, I don't have to go towards her today. I'm just trying to look at the scheduling. I think I actually did pick the best thing. Did I pick the best way? I don't remember. I don't know if I picked the best. I'll be honest, everyone. I think I picked the best one. Let me think this through. Wednesday's Old Man request. Possibly. Or could do you? And let me check my social stat for this. I'm trying to think, everyone. I'm trying to think, alright? Just let me think. Then I can make the choice, actually. Oh yeah, it's strength. Okay. Chariot, Justice, Lovers. See, the issue is I don't really have anything for like lovers, you know? I'm gonna meet Yuko. Sorry, I'm gonna meet Yuko. I'll meet Yuko. Okay. Plan is Yuko, Bookworm, Thursday, and then that. I think that's probably the best thing to do. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Yeah. Why not? Let's do it. Should we go get something to eat or maybe do some karaoke? Let's decide on the way out. There we go. There's the music I was doing.
Of my running pants, and then I washed it without real.
There was this one time I left some tissues in the pocket of my running.
Realizing, oh boy, did that make a mess. Oh, can you hang on a sec while I put my shoes on?
Yeah, sure. What the I'm sorry, what the fuck did I just...
Again. It's the same stupid prank every time. Talk about unoriginal.
Wait. Oh, it's a piece of gum. Yeah, how it feels to chew by gum. I'm joking, by the way.
Going that far would have been crossing the line.
You know who did it?
I have my suspicions, but I don't plan to confront her. I was pissed off at first, but eventually I just got used to it. Getting worked up about this would just tire me out. It's not worth it.
True.
But if I catch her in the act, I am fully prepared to grab her and teach her a lesson. That was a joke, okay? I'm a nice girl, really. Come on, let's go.
I'm not sure about that, you know.
So I figured this might be a good time to update our team uniform.
All right.
What do you think of switching to running tights? They say it reduces wind resistance.
Hey, look over there. It's Nishiwaki-san.
Oh. A rumor's gonna spread.
Is that your new?
Yeah, of course. This is what I expected. Oh, yes. Because a boy and a girl can't hang out with each other, you know, and be friends.
He's just a friend from the team.
Oh, gee golly.
Come on. No need to act all polite in front of him. Just tell it how it is. I'm surprised you could even get such a handsome guy. Maybe I should become a team manager too.
Oh, God. This...
Got it all wrong, as usual.
You wanna know what this is, actually? This is all of yous. This is... Yous are the ones... Yous are the ones who say, like, this sort of stuff. Yous are saying this.
I'm surprised you could even get such a handsome guy.
Yous direct this to me, and I'm like, no. No,
do it.
it's not true.
You'll just be running around after everyone all day. And it's not very attractive for a girl to be so muscular, you know?
What the fuck? Fuck you. Fuck you, you piece of shit. I think it's as attractive. I think, if anything, it shows that, like, they really put in the dedication and work to, in terms of, like, their physical health. And I think that's very admirable.
Not so loud. Her boyfriend's, like, right here. I kind of feel bad for her.
That's really what you want to do. I won't stop you. But you're better off looking for a boyfriend elsewhere. A manager is a busy job. You won't have time to go around sticking gum on people's shoe lockers.
Ooh, so it was you.
What on earth are you talking about?
Of course not. It was just a random example. What's wrong? Did I say something to offend you?
Not at all. Hey, let's just go already.
Sorry you got dragged into that.
They're not friends of yours. Don't worry about it.
No, you shouldn't have to deal with that. Sorry. I should probably fill you in before you get the wrong idea about me.
No, I don't have the wrong idea about you. I have the right idea. You seem to be the person that's fine, and yet you have dickheads. you have people who are like, you're trying to be muscular. Ugh, ew, gross. Like, what the wow. Great. 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 Absolutely fucking great things to say. Absolutely not, by the way. If you don't know I'm being rhetorical, I'm being very rhetorical. Fuck those people.
That girl in the black tights, we went to the same middle school. Back then, there was this boy on the basketball team who asked me out, and we started dating.
Oh.
But turns out, he was seeing her at the same time. When she found out, she said I stole her boyfriend, even though I was a victim too. She blamed me because I was the manager of the basketball team. Isn't that just ridiculous? And after I became the track team manager here in high school, that set her off on me again. But really, all I want to do is support others so they can be the best they can be. Remember the gum on my locker? That was probably her doing. She's definitely the type to hold a grudge. Oh, those girls have way too much time on their hands. All they do is complain and gossip. Why don't they do something more productive? They're the ones who should get a lecture from Makoto. You're not putting enough thought into your future. Tell that to them, not me. Oh, that reminds me. Sorry for what they said about you. They called you my boyfriend. Must have made you feel awkward, huh?
I wouldn't say I'm honored. I'd say I don't mind.
Yeah, thanks. But you should mind a little, right? I'm a high school girl after all, you know. Oh, right. Make sure you don't tell Kaz or anyone else about the two-timing thing, okay? You're the only one I've told.
Oh, that's fine.
Also, I broke up with that two-timing jerk a long time ago. Just so you know, you might be thinking, so what, right? Yeah, what am I saying?
Oh. Yeah, oh, I wonder what she's flustered for. Oh, you've started catching feelings for me, huh? Yeah. For my Koto. Not for me, sorry, for my Koto. Huh. What a surprise.
Well, that dragged on. It's late. We should be getting home. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Let's say to go back into the dorm.
Oh, welcome back.
Oh yeah, you're saying the exact same stuff. Okay. In all honesty, everyone, I think I'm actually gonna save here. We did a bunch of stuff today. We got a few more social links sorted. We have also as well been appointed to student counseling, which gives us access to the Emperor social link. So I'll do that probably on the Friday when the next time I do play this, which is tomorrow, which is the same time, 8 PM, BST or GMT, whichever one you remember, you know, whichever one's your preference. So yeah, I appreciate everyone so much as well for checking out not only the YouTube video that I posted yesterday, but also as well I thoroughly do appreciate you all for the input on content and such in regards to Twitch. I think the one thing I've learned is like people don't mind necessarily like variety when it comes to like the YouTube stuff and that. I think people are more like sort of like attached to like routine in regards to content such as this where it's gameplay and that, you know, so I totally understand that and think it's like easier to track for people as well, considering this stuff is very long format, like movie format, you know, because like people stream for hours, it is movie format. So yeah, I totally understand, and thanks to everyone who gave the input on that. If you also want to put your direct input for certain questions that I also will ask as well, I made sure I did save, right? Just to confirm, I made sure I did save. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thank you all so much. If you want to be a part of any of like the future inputs and stuff, then you can check that out as well. I'm gonna make sure I refresh this because it stopped. I am going to mark that as complete Icarus. I am going to check who is live. Oh, ew, you are fucking kidding me. You are fucking kidding me. I am so heartbroken over this. I was wondering why I had the one mod thing. I can't believe this. I can't. Are you for real? Sorry, I just saw something there. I can't believe that. I'm gonna see who's live right now. Let me check. Let me check. Oh my god. What the hell? I think I know who I'm gonna raid actually. I am going to rate Jess. Jess. She is currently playing Power World right now. But yeah, go check her out. She goes I'm making sure that I am getting the pronouns correctly. Have I got the pronouns correctly? I'm so sorry if I don't have the pronouns correctly. I don't know where they are. Okay. I don't see them. I'll be honest. I don't see the pronouns. Well, the tag is women, so I think I'm fine for she her. Okay, I think that is. I think I'm. I think I didn't want to make like the mistake, you know. I am also as well. Before I do go away as well, I am actually. I'll come back for a little second. I am going to take one last pee, and then I'll be back. So hold on. Hold on. All right. Gosh, I've got so many of these. Actually, you know what I want to do? Actually, I want to rate somebody. I did say I was gonna rate you, but I want to rate somebody different. Oh my god, Rebirth is out today, isn't it? Oh my gosh, Rebirth is out. Oh no, people are just like, oh, it's the state of play stuff, isn't it? Yeah, it's the state of play. Holy crap, there's so many people in that. I'm gonna quickly check the Persona category actually, because I want to see. I want to see if there's anybody under the category that is also playing this game. Let me click this. Persona 3 Reload. Let's Variety, Elden Ring, Overwatch. I'm just checking. What the rules? Catch a vibe, enjoy yourself. I don't know who you are. And that's the part I'm scared of. That is the part I'm scared of. I don't know. I don't know your rules. I'm just quickly checking, hold on. Let me no spoilers, even if they're super mainstream or old. Good result. Okay. I do like the rules. They seem to have some interesting stuff as well. I'm this person. What's the pronouns? I'm me trying to figure it out. This is all about just like me trying to figure out stuff. I need help. I need help. Does somebody have a genuine a good recommendation on a creator who is of color? Because I want to rate into, I want to try and aim for those people for like this sort of like month, you know, and show support for them. No, actually, let's see if anybody's playing Pikmin. Is anybody else playing Pikmin 4? Please tell me somebody else is playing Pikmin 4. I could also check that out. Nobody has the tag. Unfortunately. Oh. I'm trying to look, everyone. I'm trying to look. I swear, I'm trying to look. Okay. You know what? I actually will read into this person. I'll read into this person. Go check out BubChub. Their rules are keep racist, transphobic, or generally bigoted behavior out of the chat. Isn't a place for that. We like that. They like the conversation relatively PG-13. Like swears are all good, but please don't go over the top and please don't be gross. We can respect that. No spoilers for any of the games being played, even if they're mainstream or old. Someone could experience it for the first time. Nice. If I'm struggling in the game over current challenges, big part of the fun for me, so please refrain from giving advice on gameplay unless asked. We respect that. Yeah. I like the stuff I see from them, at least. I like the stuff I see from them. Go check them out. Here's a raid message. Here's also a sub-raid message. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.